Okay, we will call this meeting to order. This is a 5 p.m. council meeting, the Sacramento City Council. Please call the roll.
Thank you. Councilmember Kaplan. Here. Councilmember Dickinson. Vice Mayor Talamantes will be here momentarily. Councilmember Pleckbaum. Councilmember Maple. Here. Mayor Pro Tem Guerra. Here. Councilmember Jennings. Here. Councilmember Vang. I am here. Mayor McCarty.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay, let's have Councilmember Jenny. Oh, excuse me. Yes, we're going to have our Girl Scouts do the land acknowledgement and the pledge.
Please rise for the opening acknowledgements in honor of Sacramento's indigenous people and tribal lands. To the original people of this land, the Nisan people, the Southern Maidu, the Valley Plains Miwok, and the Putun-Wintun peoples, the people of Winton Rancheria, Sacramento's only federally recognized tribe, may we acknowledge and honor the Native people who came before us and still walk beside us today on these ancestral lands by choosing to gather here today, an active practice of people's history, an active presence, acknowledgement of, and appreciation of Sacramento's indigenous people's history, contributions, and lives. Thank you.
Please stay standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you from Troop 1290.
And your name?
Thank you.
Ella.
Viva. Maggie.
Asha,
And then say I have something for your mayor.
I have something for you, Mayor.
Thank you, Troop 90.
Okay.
Oh. We need to share these, right? Okay, we will share them. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And
Mayor?
Mayor, we had no closed session tonight, so Madam City Attorney, I believe there's no report out. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Clerk. We will proceed with the consent calendar. One announcement that item number 20 will not be heard this evening. This is the item related to the proposed change to the Police Review Commission. This will instead be incorporated with a larger discussion on changes for boards and commissions with the City of Sacramento under Chair Jennings. So with that, item 20 will not be heard. Any council members that wish to pull items or note items for discussion on the consent calendar, please note. Councilmember Maple. Councilmember Cap.
Quick comment on item 3 and on item 9.
Mayor Pro Tem Guerra?
Quick comment on item 12.
12. Okay.
Councilmember Dickinson, did you have something? See, we've slowed. Shall I call those names?
Yep, go ahead.
Let's take Councilmember Kaplan on 3 and then 9.
Wrong one. Thank you so much, Madam Clerk. Item 3, I am really excited. We've been working on this behind the scenes with our amazing city staff, Rich Sanders, Yayen, James Christensen, and others. We have surplus land in Natomas, and we are fully declaring it, but we're doing it through a process that we are working for this to become affordable housing for families and seniors. So it was meant to be a community center, but one of the amazing things about this, on the corner of the property, we are hoping to add in a small community center venue that is open not just to the residents, but for community members. And this is just the first part in it. So I am so excited that Natomas is doing its part, and we're going to have more affordable housing for families and seniors in Natomas. So thank you to our city staff and everyone who's worked to make this here to this point. And then I just want to, on item 9, thank all of our transportation staff for all their hard work in creating the Neighborhood Connections final draft plan. I think it's really important that we design a city for people, our streets for people, our communities, our neighborhoods for people, not for cars. And I look forward to figuring out ways that we can truly implement the steps we need to make sure that Sacramento is not known as a dangerous place for our pedestrians, but is a safe place and something where you can live, work, and play, walk and bike and take transit where you need to go, and it's not so car-centric. So thank you so much for your plan. Good job.
So Councilmember Dickinson on item 9 also.
Thank you. I wanted to join in the thanks to the staff and to the community for developing this plan. I know it's been in the works for quite some time. I wanted to make 2 quick specific comments relating to District 2. One is that the plan shows a connection at the intersection of South Avenue and Rio Linda Boulevard to be pedestrian islands, and I think that actually might be a better location ultimately for something like a roundabout. So as we approve this plan, realize it's a living document. And secondly, there wasn't much in the plan related to the eastern side of Robla, just west of the former McClellan Air Force Base, now McClellan Park. And I think that's an area that may be the case because there's not much in the way of streets and roads there that are very suitable, but it may also be something that we need to address without improvements in those in the future as well. So a couple things to put on the to-do list. Thank you.
Councilmember Maple on 9.
Thank you. At the risk of sounding repetitive, but I did punch up first. I do want to especially thank Jennifer Donlin Wyatt and Jeff Jelsma on this in particular. This has been, years in the making and really intentional work. I've seen Jeff out at numerous community events, tabling, talking to people, and that's just in my district. So I know this is the case throughout the city. So just really want to acknowledge his work in making this a truly community-led plan. I think that sometimes what happens in government is we think we know all the right answers and we put it on paper and we say this is what we're going to do. And I think there was a very intentional effort here to make sure that we were hearing directly from the community and inputting their opinions. And so just thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Guerra, you had comments on 12.
Thank you very much. Before I talk about 12, I'll just say that while item number 9 works on the neighborhood connections and the low-stress streets, it dovetails perfectly with item number 12, which it creates the Stockton Boulevard multimodal partnership to realize a true bus rapid transit system. And so I really want to appreciate and thank staff for this next step forward in realizing what will be not only bike lanes, walkability, shorter pedestrian crossings and islands, and being able to make Stockton Boulevard no longer Old Highway 99 and a true multimodal connection where not only biking, cycling, but having a bus rapid transit system that can move through quickly without the traffic in there to increase the usage there. And with all the housing that's going in there, the development on mutual housing on Fruit Ridge and Stockton, or should I say Younger in Stockton, with the Mercy Housing Project that's there. We broke ground on the Gateway Project on 9th Avenue and 10th Avenue, and we're working on the Remington property on 13th Avenue. All of this, it's going to be critical to have available and fast public transportation for folks to be able to use there. So with that, very thankful for all the staff on item number 12, and accolades to number 9.
Thank you. That concludes council comments. I have 4 speakers signed up for the consent calendar. Shall we take those now?
Yes, please proceed.
Lambert, Dan Allison, Paul. So it looks like Lambert on item 1 or 2, Dan Allison on 9 and 12, and Paul on 9. And as the mayor announced, item 20 is pulled.
I'm on number one.
You.
I was here earlier, and I see some people that were here at 11 o'clock when I was here. That's why I always mention Minty Cuppy. She was here at 11 when I was here. Wow. And I would not have come back had the millennials, who are tremendous followers of us. And on number one, I saw where Megan of Office of Arts and Culture, I had to come back because she and her office has been very kind to Grant High School. The Grant Drumline, they're the ones that called me to come back here. I wasn't coming back here tonight. I have a life to live. But because she has helped the Drumline many times, for those people who don't know who the Drumline is, Google it. The Grant Drumline is a decades-old teenage group from Grant High School, and they're going to Ireland this year. I don't know how many of you have ever been to Ireland. I have no idea why they're going to Ireland, but they're going there, and they're globetrotters. And so I took time out of my schedule to come back here and thank the Office of Arts and Culture, specifically Megan. Her budget should never be cut. She should always get whatever she needs. She's never been caught in a scandal with her money. Wow. And so I'm really honored to have met her. I met her through Mayor Steinberg was in Del Paso Heights, and she was there. And she promised she would go help the Grant Drumline, and she did. So I had to come back and acknowledge her, fund her budget.
Thank you for your comments. Dan Allison on 9 and 12, and then Paul on 9.
Dan Allison, District 4. I'm commenting on item 9 at the moment. I don't just support Neighborhood Connections. I love it. It's an outstanding document. I have read through the entire thing, not all the examples, but the rest of the document, and I see nothing to dislike about it. I really like it. I like the traffic calming toolbox. I think that it's a great document. Of course, funding is required in order to implement it, and that's the next question that comes up. But it's a great start. It's a template. It will help the city get grant funding and perhaps even reallocate some of its own budget to doing Neighborhood Connections, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Do you want me to comment on 12 while I'm here?
If you'd like to.
Okay. So I'm changing hats. I'm commenting on 12 on behalf of Sacramento Transit Advocates and Riders, STAR. We support the Stockton Boulevard project and are glad to see this contracting to move forward with the planning on it, and look very much forward to, when the planning is complete, implementation of the project. We think that Stockton Boulevard, both as the highest transit use route in the county and as an important corridor for revitalizing Sacramento, is critical. And if we do a good job on this one, it will engender demand for doing more BRT routes throughout the city. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Paul on item 9.
I just wanted to say I support item 9. We need neighborhoods to be more connected to improve them for walking and biking and transit, even as you seek to target those pedestrians with your capitulation to excessive cars on Truxell last week. We need to prioritize our crumbling infrastructure. Over $1 billion in delayed infrastructure maintenance is not the vibe. At the end of the day, these delays continue while we have 172 vacancies in the police department, while we pay hundreds of millions of dollars over the past several years in overtime, while we can't entice new officers because of how bad the public view of police is. We can't even entice them with massive signing bonuses, which isn't helped by trying to bypass the police commission and its ability to be critical of the police by trying to include a cop. You're not making the conditions any better to address infrastructure through this gross mismanagement of city funds. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Mayor, I have no more speakers on the consent calendar.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second on the consent calendar? Yes, excluding item number 20.
So I had a motion by Councilmember Guerra and a second by Councilmember Kaplan. Thank you.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any noes or abstentions? Hearing none, the consent calendar passes, minus item 20. Okay, next item, please.
We move to public hearings. Item number 23 is Natomas Basin Habitat Conservation Plan, the HCP, fee 2025 adjustment.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm Matthew Ayala, Assistant Planner with the Community Development Department, and I will be speaking about the annual adjustment to the Natomas Basin Habitat Conservation Plan, known as the HCP. All new development within the Natomas Basin is subject to the HCP and the implementation agreement executed between the city and the federal and state wildlife resource agencies. The HCP specifies avoidance measures and mitigation for loss of habitat and incidental take coverage. Prior to new grading, development located in the Natomas Basin, which is North Natomas and South Natomas, in the city of Sacramento is subject to the payment of HCP fees. Per the requirements of the city's HCP and the HCP implementation agreement, the city considers a fee adjustment on an annual basis in order to ensure the accuracy of the funding to implement the HCP. The Natomas Basin Conservancy's economic consultant completed an updated finance model that indicates a necessity to adjust HCP fees in order to successfully implement the HCP. This year, a fee increase is proposed for the 2025 construction season. The current fee without land dedication is $46,009 per gross acre, with a proposed increase to $47,031. This represents a $1,022 increase. The fee with land dedication is currently $32,259 per gross acre and is proposed to increase to $33,281. This also represents a $1,022 increase. Historically, the fee has been relatively stable. For example, 19 years ago, in 2006, the fee was $41,182 per acre, and in 2010 was $44,050 per acre. The increased adjustment is needed to accurately reflect the current costs of implementing the HCP. The Natomas Basin Conservancy Board and city staff recommend that the City Council adopt a resolution that would increase the HCP fees. City staff is available if you have any questions. Thank you. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you so much. Madam Clerk, is there any public comment on this item?
I have no public comments on item number 23.
Wonderful. Okay, so is this your first time presenting, I think it was?
Yes.
Can you repeat your name again?
Matthew Ayala.
Matthew. Okay, well, welcome to the podium. I'm glad that you're being mentored by Cheryl. She's an expert at everything Natomas, basin fees and everything, so just welcome. And I'd like to open and close the public hearing and move this item. And then we'll move on to Councilmember Kaplan.
Thank you.
And I will second her motion on that. I just want to call out that as of this year, we have protected more than 5,402 acres of open space, which is an actual increase of 249 acres from the last time this came to council. And for those that don't know, I mean, the Natomas Habitat Basin Conservancy was basically required for conservation for development in Natomas, had to get federal approval, and it is something why many of us in Natomas love where we live, because we know it protects the more than 22 plant and animal species in the basin that we see, like the Cooper hawk that's in my neighborhood, the Swainsson hawks that I see when on my walks, and the egrets and so many others. But this is great, and I look forward to seeing how we can expand and protect more land out there, because it's demanded and our residents are looking for that. So thank you so much for all of your work. I know this is a technical annual thing, but it's always a reason to call out why we love Natomas, because we have so many animal and plant species. So thank you. Open and closed.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you. Councilmember Kaplan. Aye. Councilmember Dickinson. Aye. Vice Mayor Talamantes.
Aye.
Councilmember Pleckybom. Councilmember Maple. Aye. Mayor Pro Tem Guerra. Aye. Councilmember Jennings.
Yes.
Councilmember Vang. Yes. And Mayor McCarty is absent. Motion passes.
Okay, thank you so much. And now we're moving along to discussion calendar, item number 24. The Personnel Committee has taken the lead on the recruitment of our new city manager with the leadership of Mr. Councilmember Jennings. So if you want to take it away.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, each of you has a memo at your desk regarding the executive recruitment firm selection process. And so when you came back from break, we left it at your desk. Our clerk did that. Our mayor has requested that we as a city council choose an executive recruitment firm to help us choose our next city manager. And that should be done by the 1st of March. And I'm pleased to say that we are in a position to do this so tonight. The City of Sacramento city manager is a leader of over 5,000 employees and the main person responsible for the administration of a $1.6 billion municipal budget. The city manager position needs to work with the council to implement their directions and collaborate with fellow charter officers and direct reports. They must be able to work with a diverse community. They must work with and manage our employee groups. They must possess skills set that allow them to address complicated and complex issues from public safety to land development to animal welfare to utilities, including flood control, from economic development to regional cooperation and public transportation. This position is varied and extremely complicated. Our process to fill this position needs to respect the individuals that are applying, while at the same time provide a clear and transparent process that includes public participation throughout. I'm going to say that again, provides a clear and transparent process that includes public participation throughout. Ultimately, the final decision on the next city manager will be made by the mayor and the city council. It will take into account public input and collective conversations with whom we want to fill this very important position. The P and PE committee met on February the 18th for a public in-person interview and unanimously selected or is recommending to the mayor and city council that we retain the company CPSHR. The following is a recap of the comments made by the full city council at our January 29th meeting directing the P and PE committee to undertake this review of the search firms. Number one, undertake a true national search. Number two, highlight and reinforce the attributes of our community. Number three, consultation with community members and community groups for the attributes and skills of the next city manager of the city of Sacramento. Number four, consultation with employee groups. Consultation with employee groups for the attributes and skills of the next city manager. Number five, discussion with the mayor and each city council member to define the qualifications, characteristics, attributes, goals, and skill sets for the next city manager. Number six, that the firm would bring back to the full city council what they heard from their interviews with the mayor and city council and present this profile to the full city council and our community in a public city council meeting. That this would happen prior to the starting of the recruitment process so that the mayor and the council could discuss and give additional direction as needed. As indicated in the process memo handed out, we will be undertaking individual interviews with the mayor and city council. The firm selected will be sending a questionnaire to each of you prior to your interview to help you organize your thoughts around the two main issues. What do you see in the next city manager? And what outreach process to the community do you want? Then they will then return to the full city council on March the 25th. This meeting will be publicly noticed and Brown Act compliant. I am pleased to invite to the podium Jennifer Wilkerson from our HR department to introduce the recommended firm.
Good evening, council members.
Welcome.
I'm Jennifer Wilkinson, I'm an administrative officer in the Employment Classification and Development Division of the Human Resources Department. Councilmember Jennings mentioned most of what I was going to share as well, so I will just go ahead and introduce Pam Derby. She's an executive recruitment manager with the CPS HR consulting firm, and she'll be giving a presentation on the firm's recruitment process for your consideration.
Good evening. Thank you, Jennifer. Vice Mayor, council members. First of all, I'm Pam Derby with CPS HR Consulting. I manage the executive executive search function, pardon me, of our consulting firm. I'm in year 22 with CPSHR. Just a little bit about us. We are actually a California Joint Powers Authority. And so our mission is the promise of the public sector. And so we have been doing hundreds of public sector recruitments over the last 20 plus years. As a company, we're currently celebrating our 40th anniversary, and we are headquartered here in Sacramento. We were originally part of the State Personnel Board, and then in 1985, as I said 40 years ago, we veered off into the JPA realm. And I would like to thank the P and PE committee so much. We're very honored by your recommendation. And with that, I'd like to just give you a high snapshot of what the process would look like. So the first thing that we would discuss with all of you is a proposed timeline. Typically, this takes about 120 days for a city manager search. Now, I would anticipate this could take longer for the city of Sacramento, given all of the feedback, et cetera, that we need to gather for this process, for the multiple types of panels that may be involved, the selection processes that may be very complex. And so it could span beyond that 120-day realm, but that is typically what this looks like. We have a 3-phase process, and the first phase is defining this ideal candidate that Councilmember Jennings has discussed. So first, again, we need to establish the timeline. What are the communications expectations from the City Council? Who is going to be our point of contact? We are already working very closely with the Human Resources Department and would anticipate that relationship would continue. Again, as Mr. Jennings said, we would conduct information gathering meetings with the council. We would anticipate staff, community leaders, the community at large. And those meetings with the city council, we're anticipating to start as soon as possible if we are selected this evening by the full council to conduct this search. After we gather all of that information, as the chair Jennings has mentioned, we will put together a profile and bring that back to the council on March 25th. From that information and that ideal candidate profile, we put together the marketing materials, which is a recruitment brochure, all the advertising, et cetera. So that first phase is all about gathering all of this information, and it's about putting together the materials that we need to market the position for the city. Phase 2 is the aggressive recruitment piece. And this is where, number one, we'd be launching all of the efforts through advertising, through social media, personal leads, et cetera, to encourage individuals to apply for this position. We have a huge database of city management candidates around the country that's between 10 and 15,000 at this point, that initially we reach out to that entire group. However, from the conversations we've had from you, what you've told us are the ideal candidate attributes is when we're then going out and looking for those specific types of candidates. And that can involve the telephone, email, LinkedIn contacts, even texting. We often, after we have candidates, we do an awful lot of text work these days because people are immediately reading that. Everyone will apply directly to CPSHR through our applicant tracking system. We acknowledge within 48 hours that they've applied. After that time, we will be screening the minimum qualifications that are part of your job spec. We'll be screening those candidates against those minimum qualifications. The candidates that meet those, we will conduct a very thorough screening interview with. And then we would present a short list of recommended candidates to the council. At this point, that's phase 2. Usually we're looking at 4 to 6 weeks for that process. As I said, we would probably advertise this as open until filled, and then the first resume review date, and we'll see where we are. Phase 3 is about the selection process. Again, we'll be talking with all of you about what you see as the selection process. what are those logistics going to look like? What types of panel interviews would you like to do, et cetera? We'll be doing reference checks on your finalist candidates. We do a background check, a very thorough background check on after the job offer is made. We cannot do a criminal background check in California until a job offer is on the table. And then we're also available to assist with employment negotiations as necessary. So the next steps we anticipate are, as I mentioned, these individual conversations with each council member to determine those ideal candidate attributes, skills, goals, et cetera. As determined by this input, we would then do stakeholder engagement activities, whether that's a survey, whether it's holding town halls, having meetings with CBOs, NGOs, et cetera. And then we would be presenting that ideal candidate profile and the recruitment plan at the March 25th City Council meeting. The other thing we'll be doing immediately is we will be doing a salary study that determines for executive level salaries. We know in the city charter that there are stipulations that we need to adhere to doing that study, but we will do that and we'll present that at the March 25th meeting as well. And with that, I'm available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Vang?
Thanks, Mayor. First, I wanted to take this opportunity to thank Councilmember Jennings for his leadership in the PMP committee, but also for this beautiful memo as well to all of my colleagues. And so really appreciate Councilmember Jennings' leadership and getting us to this point. I do serve on the PMP committee, and we did conduct an interview during that time. I think folks can go back to the archives and watch the PMP meeting to really hear from both of the firms. And this is the firm that the PMP committee did unanimously vote to put forth. But given that this is the 5 p.m. meeting and now it's in front of the full entire council, and I do see that we have an audience here that was not here during the interview process, I do think it's important to perhaps even in this moment ask similar questions that I asked last time, because I think that's important. So the first question, very similar to the one I asked, but it was really around ensuring that we recruit a diverse pool of candidates. I know that at PNP, one of the questions, one of the topics that we talked about was really ensuring, as a city, that equity, diversity, inclusion, belonging is really critical in terms of the work that we're doing here in the city. And I wanted to just ask you in particular, given the many years of your organization doing recruitment, is that what practices have your organization put in place to address your firm's own biases in the recruiting process? I think that's really important. For you to be able to share, what you all have put in your process. And then the other question that I wanted to share with you again, because it's not here, is also what is your placement retention rate as an organization? Usually after an offer is given to a candidate, like how long do you follow up with your client in the city of Sacramento? I think that's really important to be transparent about too, because it may be a good fit, it may not be a good fit. And so would love for you to answer those two questions. And then I have one more question after that.
So as I mentioned, we are a full service human resources consulting company. And so we actually have a DEI&B unit at CPSHR that is continually doing training with the entire staff. They also do training with clients around this subject. As I mentioned 2 weeks ago, last week, at our 40th celebration, we had inclusivity training that day for our entire staff, and then another training in the afternoon for just supervisors and managers. And so those are the many things that we do to ensure that we're following those practices in our own company. I think that our numbers speak for themselves. We do keep track. We ask for optional EEO when people apply, but we also make sure that we advertise in journals and job boards that focus on DE&I and B. But over the last 3 years, 57% of our placements have been people of color, females, or both. And we can break that down further, and we know that a third of those individuals were people of color. And so obviously we screen everyone who meets the minimum qualifications. That's one way to look at it. We also are sharing the EEO information with the city each week to make sure that, we're staying on track. We utilize Zoom Info, which has a diversity filter as well that helps us with that situation. But it's of the highest importance for us, and it certainly is something that we live day to day at CPS HR Consulting. Our retention rate for city managers is very high. Typically, after we have, I don't recall ever redoing a city manager recruitment. It's possible, my senior brain after 22 years, but we are at 95% after 2 years. I think we're down to 92% after 3 years. But again, we are keeping those analytics and we're paying attention to those things.
Awesome. Thanks, Pam. I appreciate you just sharing the practices that your firm has implemented in order to address any biases during the recruiting process. I know we as mayor and council really want to make sure this is a national search and want to make sure that, we create a process that reflects our community. The last question I had a comment actually. Let me do the comment and I'll ask you the last question. One is really appreciate the request to meet with mayor and council individually to do interviews. I think my staff has said to me that you have already begun to kind of reach out, so that's great. Really want to emphasize the sessions with care holders. I think that's really important. I think it's great. We represent our constituents as well, but our constituents are incredibly diverse in their opinions and what they want to see in the city manager. So really want to just reaffirm that I think holding spaces for our care holders, our residents, our CBOs is going to be really key. The last question I had was really around compensation. Compensation has been a point of contention and concern within our city and our residents. I think we hear often from our constituent. I wanted to ask you, what recommendations would you provide if this mayor and council move forward with your firm? Because today we have to take a vote if we're going to take you on as a firm to help begin this process. But wanted to know in what ways will your firm help us assess, develop a competitive and fair compensation, right? I think that's important, right? Obviously, we don't want to underpay, but we also want to make sure that it's competitive, but we want to make sure that's balanced. And so we'll love to hear from you just your thoughts on the ways in which your firm can help provide recommendations to the mayor and council on a fair compensation package.
Well, as I mentioned, the city is a little different than some cities. Many cities, the executive pay there's nothing tied to it. However, for the city of Sacramento, some of those parameters are in the city charter, which we have to adhere to in completing the salary study. However, I have a member of my team who is has compensation expertise. She does all of our executive pay studies. We'll be looking at organizations that have a higher population, those with a lower population. But with executive pay, it's about a total compensation package as well. And so oftentimes you're looking at a base salary, but you also have to look at all of those other perks that go along with. For a city manager, county administrator, general managers, they all have different things that they bring in their employment agreements that they will try to negotiate for, whether that's relocation, et cetera. And so we certainly have extensive experience with these types of positions and knowing what other positions around the country and the state of California in particular, because of our housing situation, et cetera, we know what they're paying and what those packages look like. So obviously we need to stick to the city charter when we're doing this study. However, we also have anecdotal information that we can certainly provide. But as I said, we anticipate presenting this. We want to be transparent about it, and we can present this at the March 25th council meeting.
Thanks, Pam. Those are all my questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Talamantes.
I'd like to make a motion to hire CPS HR Consulting for next steps and get the ball rolling.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. So I have one more comment. Councilmember Maple.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much for the presentation. This was really helpful. Thank you, Councilmember Jennings, for outlining the next steps and for your work on the committee. I know that this is obviously one of the biggest issues before us in the next 6 to 8 months, and certainly for the community as well. This is a big deal for Sacramento. I have one question for you, which is, how many city manager recruitments have you done over the course of your career, I guess? You can guesstimate as well.
Probably between 10 and 20.
Okay.
I have focused on council board appointed positions and have dealt with much bigger groups of individuals than this, and some of the biggest JPAs in the state. We've done extensive stakeholder engagement with many of those, and so between 10 and 20 city managers, but extensive list additionally to that of other board appointed positions.
Wonderful. So you're very qualified, and that's great. And I want to echo some of the comments of Councilmember Vang. Really appreciate your detailed questions, and I also want to really appreciate you for interviewing us individually as well as staff, because I think sometimes you can't get it. If you have all of us in a room and everyone's talking over each other, it might be really challenging, not to mention the Brown Act, but having that time to really sit down and talk to you about values and the things that we'd like to see is going to be important. I also want to echo that connection to community. I think that's very important for Sacramento. We're connected to our constituents, but there's also a lot of organizations and individuals that make up the fabric of this community, and I think their input's really important too. So appreciate that as well, and looking forward to supporting this and working with you. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Just have one comment and one question. First of all, we wanted to make sure we had a thorough process in selecting the firm and focusing on a top job in the city of Sacramento. I think we had a great civics lesson the past year on what a city manager is. I bet you if you go back 20 years and ask people what the city manager does versus today, night and day. So I know our first 7 council meetings, we talked about the city manager every meeting. So we're counting on you to help make sure that we get the right person for this position. And I also wanted to thank Mr. Jennings and making sure that you were inclusive and very thorough in this process. And so I am confident. And just lastly, I remember, I'm not sure it was you, but this firm in my prior role here on the council when we selected a city manager in a search process. So I'm familiar with that. Maybe one thing that you could help us with, because I think there's probably a lot of expectations as far as what it would look like. I'm sure there's probably some people in this room that would like you to bring the finalists to their living room and have a chance to have some one-on-one communication with them. It doesn't always work that way. There's confidentiality sometimes, as Chair Jennings noted it with the applicants. So it probably differs from time to time. So what would you kind of advise us? And how should we start communicating that with the public as far as what the end, not the result, but kind of the end process could look like?
So what we suggest, if you would like to include community members in the selection process, is that each council member chooses 2 to 3 individuals, and probably we would not have, we'd have one individual that would serve, but, we have to adjust for schedules and things, and that panel represents you. Frankly, we have them sign NDAs because, again, the candidates are very worried about confidentiality. We have had candidates in other states where the Brown Act, their open meeting laws are sunshine laws. They're not open meeting laws, and they get down to a final 6, and then they have to release the names of those candidates. We've had a process where a council decided after the names had been released that they wanted to wait until after their election, and 2 of those 6 city managers did get fired. So that happens. And so we want to be very careful about confidentiality. And in California, city manager candidates are not as used to those public types of, being out in front of the public for everyone to see. That's not typical in California. But there are ways to get community feedback, and we think the best way to do it in that final process is the council indicating individuals that are activists in your districts, et cetera, whatever the case may be, to sit on a panel to provide you their feedback about the candidates.
So do you know of any examples in California where, let's say, cities had finalists of 3 individuals, and they had those 3 go to potentially a select group of public and
So
have a trial run and keep that confidential?
So, well, what I will say is I've had a process where, for the city of Richmond, which is a highly political city, very involved citizenry, the final 3 candidates did do an open forum. And we had a good 100+ individuals in the room that were able to ask all 3 candidates questions. I think that was a little nerve-wracking for the candidates, but it has been done. I don't know that we got the best result from that, but we have employed the community panel situation. Most recently, County of San Diego, we had community panel, and they did sign NDAs. Those candidates' names leaked, but that didn't come out of CPSHR. So there's only so much we can do, but we do everything we can.
Okay, thank you for your answers. Seeing no more, oh, yes, 2 speakers.
Mayor, I have 2 speakers, Mac Worthy and Lambert. Mr. Worthy? And then Lambert, come on up.
All day. I could hear some things there that I wouldn't like, that we probably cannot ask the city manager now. That's bullshit. Don't bring that to Sacramento. If you live in this city and you can't ask the city manager a question, something is wrong. Now, she mentioned the Brown Act. Who here violated the Brown Act? I would say all the suckers go, because nobody brought it up. If that's going to be Worth, Chan, the leading manager, those that stay here, you're guilty of participation when you know he broke the Brown Act. Wake up. Know a little about law. Where did the companies, private companies, did this organization appointed a manager? 500 manager. 500 corporation. Where did you come to a conclusion that you would only bring one in front of the people? All of you contact you come here. We waste a lot of time here. Ask some questions. Get to see the face. Everybody make emails, cannot sit to the face. We want to know, do we have access to those emails we transferred to here? That's public information. That should be that. People can cannot stand here in my face and say what I say. I face you straight up. If you're going to lie, you're a liar. And we got to do something about that here, because what happened here, if it didn't break the Brown Act, I say cancel the whole damn thing.
Thank you for your comments. Lambert? Lambert's our final speaker on this agenda item.
This is stunning to me. As a citizen, as a native, this is absolutely stunning to me. One minute I hear a report saying that they're concerned about the Brown Act. Does the city manager have to adhere to the Brown Act? That needs to be confirmed. I'm stunned that Mr. Worthy and me are the only ones speaking on this matter. This man has been caught in more scandals than I've ever seen of any elected official, and he's still on the payroll and in the middle of a major scandal unless I don't know how to read. I learned that this city council, any city council, with a 2/3 vote can fire a city manager. Why don't you do it? Why do you allow somebody to come back and be an assistant to a city manager and he never speaks to the public? Does that mean that the city manager does not have to speak to the public? And I mean all of them. They never come down here and use this technology. Can they use it? You should be able to come up here and present this to us. You make too much money not to come down here and tell us about the city manager's report. That's why you have a deficit, because you're not telling the people what's going on with that city manager report. I'm the one that took the blows for saying that. It makes no sense to me, and I learned in race equity meetings that they don't have to adhere to the Brown Act. So if they don't have to adhere to the Brown Act, it must be challenged because it's out of whack. He should be terminated, and so should some of these city managers.
Thank you for your comments. Mayor, I have no more speakers.
Thank you. No more public comment. We do have a motion and a second on this measure. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any noes or abstentions? Hearing none. Measure passes.
So Mayor, we now move to item 25, which is agreements for city motel shelter program.
Good. Here.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Brian Pedro, Director for Department of Community Response. I present to you a quick overview tonight of our motel program and ask for approval of the contracts with the exception of one. We would like to withdraw the recommended contract with Jaboom Hotel, Inc., DBA Motel 6, Sacramento Old North, and bring that back at a later date, but would like to move forward with the other contracts. With that, I will run through a short PowerPoint. I'm sure we've had enough PowerPoints today, but we'll keep it going. All right, so I wanted to run over a quick history of where we ended up with the motel program. So it started in December of 2020. It was originally a COVID sheltering program to rapidly deploy as a health program, actually. Its primary goal was to prevent people from contracting and spreading the COVID-19 virus. And it wasn't primarily emphasizing ending permanent housing, providing wraparound services. It was just to get people off the streets at that point. So it was started back in the good old days when jurisdictions had access to an unprecedented amount of federal COVID relief dollars that could be spent on housing. It was originally funded with ARPA, with the American Rescue Plan Act. It's now funded with HAP funding. There has been some combinations over the years of general fund and HAP mixture. And then currently it is funded with HAP, and it's our only city shelter that's specifically for families. Timeline on the provider, because we have a couple of contracts here. We have the service provider, which actually is providing our wraparound services, and then we have separate contracts for each motel that's providing the facility. So we need to go back a little bit because the original RFP for the service provider was released in May of 23, due in June of 23. In July of 23, Step Up was awarded the bid. It was the only applicant that bid for the contract. And we did an initial contract for 10 months from September to June. This put us at the end of our fiscal budget, but it was also because it was the remainder of HAP funding that we had for this contract. So we did a 10-month. We did extend it in June for 8 more months to put it in alignment with where we're at now with the rest of our motel facility contracts. And this would be the second extension. We had the 8-month, and now this would be a 1-year extension with our total amount request on this is $1.873003. The services provided from Step Up during FY24, we had a total of 455 households because this is a family program. That's 1,440 people, total people that were served. 852 have been exited from the program, both in positive and negative exits. We had 272 positive exits to permanent housing. That comes out to about a 32% exit rate for permanent housing. We had another 57 people that were exited to temporary situations such as transitional housing and or reunification with friends and family. And then 52 were exited out of the program in places not meant for human habitation. These were people that wanted to leave the program, had nowhere to go, but walked out and simply went back to the streets. 26 were exited to other shelters or safe havens. And then lastly, this is information that we are digging into, that 431 of the clients exited. They had no exit data collected by the provider. We are digging into that. We have had discussions with the providers, all of our providers, to certainly do their best to get all the data that we can as to why an individual has exited the program. Switching over to our motel owner contracts. So we sent the RFP out for this in November of 2024. Proposals were due in December. We did have 9 complete proposals, 1 incomplete. And then on January 7th, we entered into contract negotiations. We were in contract negotiations back and forth for a week and got a final completion on the 14th with a total of $5,985,000. And this is in total, so this would, the one contract would be pulled out of this amount that we're not bringing to you tonight. And here's what that looks like in the total numbers. Again, the 5,900, bless you, the $5,985,000 for the motel owner contract will be minus the one contract, which is 1.7. The 1.8 is for Step Up. The total amount, again, $7,885,000 or $858 minus the 1.7 for tonight. And then I will say that in our renegotiations that we were able to decrease our total cost on this program at $1.5 million for the next year in annual savings. We reduced our locations from 5 locations to 4, but kept our total number of rooms at 200. Below that is the locations, and then a quick breakdown of what our cost is for this program per unit, including services, cost of the room and services. It's $2,580 per month. It comes out to about $880 per person per month. And then a daily cost of $29, which is the cheapest program that we currently have. There is a caveat to this, that this program does not provide meals and our other programs do. And then lastly, I will say the median length of stay for the clients in our motels currently is 168 days. And that is down and dirty of what our motel program looks like, and I am open to any questions.
Madam Clerk, I think I'll Do you want to go first, Mayor, or do you want me to?
You go ahead.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for the presentation. I really appreciate it. It's good for us. I know we get these presentations periodically and we get briefings, but it's great for the public to see what we're doing. Thank you. It's great for the public to see what we're doing and that this work is ongoing, right? So it's not that something happens one month and nothing happens. Like there's ongoing projects between our shelter programs and motels that has been ongoing for years. And that's a part of this ecosystem. One of the questions, I think that's the biggest question I have. So we talked about this at Budget and Audit Committee today, but we did get disappointing news yesterday that we are receiving about $5.4 million less in HAP funding from the state than we anticipated. And there's a lot of different reasons for that. The state has their own budget challenges. And then also maybe in the formula for how they determine who gets funding, maybe we were penalized a little bit because we did see such a large reduction in our PIT count, which many of us would probably argue that shouldn't be a goal, right? We should actually probably be continuing to fund programs that are working, in my opinion. So that's one of the things that through Law and Legislation Committee we're going to tackle and see if we can get some language in this coming trailer bill at the state level to make sure that we have that we're getting rewarded for programs that are working versus the opposite. But my key question is are any of our current programs, including this motel shelter program, going to be impacted by that fund, basically the lack of that $5.4 million that we're not anticipated to receive?
It will require us to shift funding for sure. So the programs that currently aren't funded with HAP is because it's easier to tell you what's not funded with HAP than what is. Weave, St. John's, our Outreach and Engagement Center, and Roseville Road Campus. And those are the 4 that aren't funded by HAP. So everything else is HAP. I have worked hard the last year trying to carve off as much money as we can from our contracts to try and make our HAP dollars stretch farther. And I'm certainly glad that I put that work in and our team put that work in to do that, because we're going to be very tight.
Our city manager wants to opine here.
So, thank you. What we have done through our budget process, and you will hear about that in the next item, is that we have taken the delta between what the state provides us in the general fund, and we have attempted to close that as part of our overall budget gap. And so that gap got that much bigger, and we will attempt to close it, leaving homeless services whole if we can.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So we're going to be looking at the totality of the gap rather than specific HAP funding. That's really helpful. And I think, I'm speaking for myself, but probably there are others on this dais that would agree with me that the key issue, if not one of the key issues for residents of Sacramento is homelessness. And so this is an area where we put a lot of resources in, but we really do need them to continue because we want to continue to see the results that we're seeing. So just appreciate that. And then another question that I have, so I think you said that the medium stay is about 158 days?
68.
160?
168.
168, thank you. What is, and it's okay if you don't know this off the top of your head, but what is the longest stay?
So longest stay is around 2 years, and that was individuals that were, because in COVID, when we brought everybody in, it wasn't just families, it was everybody. And so there were some singles, and there still are some singles that are in the program, and our longest was around 2 years.
Okay, that's really good to know, because I think one of the things that we, because I know we've had conversations about this, and I've spoken with some other staff, I think one of the things that we need to figure out as a council here is what are our overall goals for a program like the Motel Shelter program and our programs too, especially around length of stay. Like is our overall goal and strategy to be able to have a handful of people stay for 2 years or 168 days, or is it that we want as many people as possible to be able to use this as a temporary program? I don't know the answer to that myself, but I think it's something we need to decide on, because my understanding is right now it's just however long. We don't necessarily have those time limits, and I'm not suggesting that maybe we should, but I do think it's something we need to talk about, just so you are clear as staff on what are our goals, what's the strategy, what do we want to do with this funding and these rooms that exist. And so that's just a question that I'll kind of put out there for us to think about, and thank you for the presentation.
Thank you. Councilmember Guerra.
Thank you, Mayor. First, thank you, Councilmember Maple, because I think when we have that discussion, I think we should definitely have it in the totality of all of our resources and tools. The shelter program has helped our team be able to respond and get folks immediate housing and place them in the right location at the right with the right need, and be able to do it quickly. We saw how long it takes to build a facility or get to a facility. So I feel that the motel program has played a critical role. I think the concern that we have here is also if the state's going to continue to defund our success, then that makes it difficult for us to be able to rely on that as actual space. So I, for one, am very supportive of what the current model is, particularly with the College Town Motel 6 program, where it does provide some space for the shelter program. It also provides space for other shelter needs that are within with their community. And it's been able to balance and also keep an affordable place for families who are coming to visit their students at Sac State and can't afford other hotels. It provides an actual affordable motel too. So I do feel that model has served well in that area. I would like to sit down with staff on a couple other motels that weren't selected along the Stockton Boulevard corridor. I'm concerned about making sure that we have enough resources in the south area as well, to make sure that we have other options for emergency stay. I'm very happy about the Save Stay location opening up, but again, I think this is one where we want to make sure that we utilize other uses, and certain motels will have a better optimal use for a particular purpose. And so I think one of the motels that was left off had a better optimal use. So with that, Mayor, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and move this item here. And all to say is I'd like to make sure that for the time being, we keep the configuration, particularly those in District 6, and really appreciate your team, Brian, because I think the success has been we were able to place people quickly into housing with supportive services. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yep, motion? Yeah. Second?
Happy to second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Councilmember Talamantes.
Thank you. This is more direction for the Paul and Sons Northgate Motel in my district. At Vista Nueva, the Natomas Unified School District has somebody there on site to help our kids, and they help facilitate that transition and provide support services. I was wondering if we can do the same for the Twin River School District for this hotel, and provide just more direction. I know that the kids outside right now are playing in the parking lot of the businesses nearby or out on the street, and it's really unsafe. And so I just want to make sure that the kids have, somewhere to play safely, and also the support from the school district. So direction. And then just to make sure, I know the staff report says, up to 132 rooms, but the contract that we're going into right now, at least for the Paul and Sons, is just 51 rooms, right?
At which location?
The Northgate one.
Northgate's 50.
The staff recommends entering into agreements with Triple Hotel, 60 rooms, College Hotel, 60 rooms, Arden Acres, 29, and Paul and Sons, 51 rooms. So it's just the 51, right?
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Dickinson.
Thank you. I think one of my questions, Brian, is along the lines that's been raised earlier, really where this program fits in the long-term fabric of delivering homeless shelter housing and services, because presumably these, or maybe I presume these non-city sources of money will run out at some point. And so do you see this as a program, if you're down to $29 a day, that's pretty hard to beat, but do you see this as a program that would go on indefinitely, or do you see an end to this and a different approach with whatever money's available?
I would think that this program, even as cheap as it is, needs to be supplemented with some funding. And whatever, I have some ideas and some ways that we can fund it, at least to shrink the cost to the city. It's supplemental funding for housing in one way or another, and essentially all of our programs are. And we have a lot of HAP funding going towards all these programs. So, I mean, I have a lot of ideas on how we can turn things into more permanent housing situations.
Well, we don't need to explore them all this evening,
need
for
some
sure.
direction on that.
But yeah, I mean, it does seem to have the advantage of giving people their own space as opposed to a congregate shelter on the one hand. On the other hand, it's quite dispersed, which is both a strength and a weakness. So it's just it's one question, ongoing question. Second question is the local money, that meaning the city's general fund and Measure U money, is that match money in this case?
No. Match, you're saying match to the HAP?
Well, you're getting funding from, still it looks like through ARPA.
There was a tail end of some ARPA funding that I think we just used the last of it.
Okay, so, all right, so maybe I misunderstood the staff report. This is all HAP money?
Yes.
I see. So is the city money matched to that? Is that, or is it just to supplement to get enough money to cover the cost?
Correct. It's just a supplement.
So then a logical question in our times is there any kind of substitute money that wouldn't be general fund money that we could plug in?
That's the millions of dollar question. We and I say this in that when I look at even our ERFs or other grants that are available to us, we have to be careful on applying for those because we incur some costs when we apply for those programs. It may be for more sheltering, but then we incur the costs of having to pay for an operator or having to pay for the land, and there's a continued cost with that. So it's nice to receive ERF funds, but we also end up incurring some costs with that.
I see. Okay. I mean, it's just, we're going to look at every nickel and dime.
Right.
And then finally, I do think to the extent that we can track better data, it's in our interest. Obviously, there's a lot of not just public questioning of what happens to people and accounting for expenditures that are made, but also from the governor and others at the state level. So I'm sure you're even more acutely feeling that than perhaps we are, but it certainly helps us all to figure out where the best use of our limited dollars are if we can figure out what's happening to people, where they're going, and not just on an exit, but on a longer term basis as well, which I know is extremely difficult and challenging, but that is our challenge, it seems to me. So whatever we can do in that regard, I think, is also ultimately to our benefit.
And I will say that we are, looking at both sides of this. Obviously, another way to add revenue to these programs. We're currently working looking at CalAIM to provide services and get reimbursed from the CalAIM funding.
Yeah.
So that's a real source. We are having real conversations to get that program up and going.
Gives us an avenue perhaps for better tracking.
And it will give us some funding, some
All right.
funding relief.
Thank you. That's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Kaplan.
Ask about looking at alternative sources of how can we supplement this program. I can tell you, I know CalAIM works. Natomas Unified became certified as a provider so that we could get reimbursement. I see no reason why the city can't do that as well. I will echo what some of my colleagues said, as I've said to you, the better we can get at data, I think, especially as we are facing a budget shortfall. The only way we can make really good decisions is if we know what is working, what is not working. And I want to commend you because when you came in, there was none. And we now have that standard of providers understanding that they have to keep track of things, which again has always been somewhat my frustration on this. It's supposed to work, but I don't know if it's working because I have no data, and it needs to be understood with all of our contractors. This is an expectation. We will not keep you if we cannot see how the money is being spent, where it is going, because it is somewhat disturbing. While they talk about positive outcomes, it's actually a decrease than where we've been in the past. And the amount of people that we don't know what happened to, I get that's going to happen, but I don't want to pay these providers for, whoops, I don't know. I mean, we are paying them a lot of money, and I think that's what you're seeing from the public, and it's not your fault. You're trying to correct and help further a system that hasn't always been built on accountability, but the taxpayers want to know where's their money. And I think we all want to know, we're trying to help people. What are we doing that's working, that's actually helping? So that if we're doing something that is actually not helping, so we can change it. So again, and then I want to go to, you haven't said it, so I'm going to say it. As we look at, there's a balance, and I don't know how to set the policy. That's why you're there. We've got individuals. How do we encourage them to take classes and take the resources that are being provided to help provide them and get them in the best possible space so that they can get into permanent housing or permanent supportive housing? Just being in the hotel motel program and not showing any progress and being there for a year or 2 years, I don't think that's what anybody wants to see. So if there are ways of incentive of, like, we look at, okay, maybe you've got 6 months, but you got to meet these benchmarks. Or I know there are a lot of individuals that a car broke down, big expense, they ended up homeless, they need a little help, where this hotel motel program might be helping them get back on their feet, and they could potentially help supplement the rent and the cost while they're doing that. So that's something. As to how that it gets implemented, I'm not sure, but I am open, and I think it's giving ways that people are encouraged to take the services being provided. Because we can't have a program where nobody's taking the services being provided and they get to stay there indefinitely. I'd rather, I'm sorry, we got to bring people in that really want to get off the streets and are willing to sign up and take the services for that. And I know I'm preaching to the choir because you're moving in that direction, but I wanted to say it out loud. But I also wanted to say thank you, because I appreciate if we're paying a certain amount of room night, but we're not getting the same cleaning every other day that somebody who would be renting it, they don't deserve to get the nightly cost that they could get from somebody staying in their motel hotel. So thank you for thinking about taxpayer dollars. That's one way to save a little money. What, it saved us $1.5 million?
Yeah.
So I think keep doing the good work. You're heading in the right way, and I appreciate all that you do.
Councilmember Maple.
Mayor, normally don't like to speak twice, but I was inspired by the comments of a couple of my colleagues, and since we're on this topic, wanted to bring up a couple of things that have been on my mind. One of the things that this program in particular makes me think about is whether or not it's an appropriate time in the near future for us as a council, with our new council members and our new mayor, to revisit this conversation a little bit more holistically and think about the totality of what we're spending on this issue. and what we're doing in terms of short-term solutions and long-term solutions, right? I think it's very clear if you read our, reports from Sacramento Steps Forward and, other agencies that are working on this issue, that the bottleneck is that we don't have enough permanent places for people to go. That's always the problem. We don't have enough housing that people can afford, and it's the elephant in the room in almost every discussion as it relates to this issue. And so I'm thinking all the time about, okay, we're allocating X number of millions of dollars for very short-term solutions that may or may not result in people ending up in permanent housing or better situations in their lives. And if we revisited that conversation, could we be maybe spending more money on permanent construction of housing or whatever that may look like to create more permanent solutions for people rather than spending a lot of those. So that's a philosophical and a policy conversation. And I know our mayor cares a lot about this issue and has discussed that on the campaign trail and now here. So I wanted to put that out there. I'm really open to that discussion because I think we can always improve, and we can always think about different ways of using our resources in the most effective way. And then the other thing that I wanted to bring up, it's not the first time, it won't be the last that I use this opportunity to talk about. We really have a need for a shared governance model as it relates to homelessness in our region. I know I sound like a broken record, but I feel this very strongly. 15 years ago, when Sacramento Steps Forward was first created by both the city and the county, at that time, both the city and the county said that they were going to create a joint powers authority that would be the governing body that would make decisions as it relates to homelessness, and that never occurred. And so the challenge with the situation that we're in, I know others brought up data, is Sacramento Steps Forward is a wonderful organization with very smart people. They're great at collecting data, and they're great, and they're doing the coordinated access system. But because there's no shared governance and therefore no real shared accountability on this issue, it's hard for us to put those pieces together, right? So we can have all of this data from all over the county of Sacramento, but we're not necessarily able to see the big picture always because the city of Sacramento is doing this part and the county's doing this part and Folsom's doing that and Elk Grove is doing that. And so I just would really, I'm going to bring it up again. I know there's conversations ongoing. I know that our mayor, when he was in the assembly, authored legislation on this. It's of utmost importance. So I hope that we continue to push as a body to make that happen because I think it's time. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I do have a couple of questions as well. Most has been hit on, but I do want to mention the issue overall in the state budget and the HAP money. So the HAP allocation for the current year was not adjusted. In the budget year, there is no money, so we're trying to fight to get that in the 25 budget. I'm confident that we will succeed, cities across California. But as Councilmember Garrett said, it appears that we have a lower amount in the current year because our homeless count went down. So I'm going to go back and talk to our mayors and see if that, or big city mayors, see if that's accurate and see where the other money went. Did other cities in the top 10 have an increase or to go elsewhere? Because I think that is a good point. You're being penalized for good behavior, good work. So noting that. Just a big picture, thank you for going and scrubbing it and helping us save money, and inevitably that's going to allow us to do more, because one thing we're learning over and over and over is that our problems far exceed what we have available. So we need to be 100%, as Councilmember Maple said, more nimble and find ways for efficiencies and see what works best. And so that leads to a great question, as we've asked our city auditor through this audit process to look at this, and there's shifting the scope a little bit to evaluate all the programs we have, all the contracts, how much it's not always apples to apples, but roughly how much we pay per bed, what are the success rates. It looks like you're doing that a little bit. So we're getting a report from the auditor, something that you could or will provide us as well as the programs under your kind of oversight, which ones are most valuable, getting our biggest proverbial bang for the buck?
Yes, so I've had staff painstakingly go through all of our contracts and all the costs down to the penny on cost per individual, cost per day, cost per unit, and also the costs for services at each site and what we're getting at each site and what the outcomes are at each site, and really teasing out that information to try and determine from the data that we do have which program is truly the most effective dollar value for what we have. And I mean, we're looking at pennies. It's the dollar value, really, of best service provided for the best cost. So that's what we've teased apart. I would say that since I've gotten into my position, I'm a few steps ahead of the auditor right behind me, chasing what they want to look at, because it's stuff that I wanted to look at with our program as well. I'm auditing our program all the time and trying to tease out, and I know it's been said many times, but we're services, the city paying millions and millions of dollars in services with mediocre outcomes. Are we responsible for providing those services when there are a lot of other services being provided from a lot of other places, and not just the county? As money tightens, I mean, I personally look at housing people and getting them off the streets as number one. And if we can provide services for them, or somebody can provide services, then that's fantastic. But I would rather get more people off of our streets and get them in a safe place, and then we can worry about all the other extras, because all of those extras cost millions of dollars, and we don't have that money to do this. We just don't. So we need to focus on just getting people off the streets.
Well, I would say amen to that, because this is apples to oranges, but what we learned over at the Safe Stay on Stockton Boulevard, where you and I went, is the cost of a tiny home is I think it was roughly $9,000 or $10,000, and we'll talk about that at a different time. But the other costs, not the services, are like 10 times more of that. It seems that we're not maximizing, so we're building a perfect situation for a handful of people, and some people are outside. I mean, you and I went to the Roseville roadside, and there was the cabins on the inside, and there was a lady on the fence with a little tarp who was waiting there, literally like almost like knocking on the chain link, like, can I come? But like, it wasn't her time, but she's just out there. And so, yeah, so if you could come back to us with ideas or what we need to do more, because we all know we need to do more. And yeah, so I want to then go back to the question that some of the council members asked, is this hotel concept was a fabulous idea. It was born during, as we all know, the pandemic. We needed to find easy, cheap places to put people and quarantine people. These hotels weren't being utilized. It's like we had tons of money, grabbing them and start securing them. In hindsight, we wish we would have bought them during that low time and not leasing them, but here we are now. So if you look at the kind of the menu of what we have a variety. Some motel programs, the congregate sites, the tiny home sites, they all serve different means, but do you view this hotel per day as one of the more cost-effective and efficient varieties we have?
I think it is for a site that's already standing, essentially.
If all things are being equal, because you don't pay, utility, electric, it's all built in the rate. So if you just look at that, is it more viable to do more of these as opposed to other options?
I would lean towards other options that are more permanent in nature. I truly think that when we got into this and we stood up all of our sites, they were emergency shelter. The definition of emergency shelter was 30, 60, maybe 90 days. And after that, it's some kind of housing. It's interim housing, it's temporary housing, it's whatever you want to call it at that point. We're years down the road on this thing, and we're still putting people in. Really, the only true emergency shelters we have are OEC Roseville Road. Like those are, we have our navigation centers, but the length of stays on these is way past an emergency shelter, and that's also part of our bottleneck. People
Yeah, and that leads to the question that Councilmember Maple asked, is the throughput. And Phil Pluckybaum, Councilmember Pluckybaum and I took a field trip to Texas in June. We went to go visit San Antonio and the Haven for Hope program. And we asked them, they have a major campus there in their core. I think it was a couple thousand people, and 80% of the homeless in the city essentially go there. And we asked how long was the stay, and it was a couple months? Yeah, it was a couple months. That's it. And then there's a variety of reasons why. Land is cheaper in Texas. There's more land available, regulations, all these other pieces. And so but the reality is that's in essence why we have a problem here. But the flip side is that we create these programs for emergency. And so, you say the average is 168 days and some are there for 2 years. So is that the plan? The goal is to have somebody here and then get to permanent supportive housing or other housing where they would pay rent, get a subsidized rent through housing choice vouchers or public housing, get some other program, pay, hopefully no more than a third of their income on rent, like we think is the key thing to do. But is it sound for us to have individuals here for multiple months, multiple years? It's essentially de facto housing and not a shelter. Well, other people are waiting outside, knocking to get in.
Yeah, there's many layers to this. I tend to be the contrarian and not the most popular in the circles that I run in. I can tell you that there are many people that their income, if they collect SSI, which is a little over $1,200 a month, we're trying to solve for two things here. We're trying to solve for behavioral health and mental health service and stabilizing someone, and then also trying to provide housing for them. But we can't do both. Behavioral health is going to take years and years. And I always joke, but it's like, hey, I have friends that see their therapist, and they've seen their therapist for 30 years, and they're still seeing their therapist. So that is, again, not, in my opinion, not our focus. Our focus is to determine how we can house people that are making $1,200 a month. Now, there is this magic world that people think that if we get somebody in a shelter, that they're going to get stabilized and get on their feet and go get a job and make $3,000 a month and get their own apartment. That is, again, going to take years if it ever happens. So we need to determine, how do we get somebody into some type of permanent housing for $1,200 a month that they can pay a portion of it and still have some money, just like the rest of us that pay rent or have a mortgage and pay 30 to 40 to 50% of our income towards that. It's the same thing. It's just a smaller scale.
Well, I guess people make rational decisions for economic reasons. If you have no money, limited money, or a good job. And so if you're an individual and you were formerly homeless, you end up in a Motel 6 program, and you're there, and you could stay there, or you could try to get another program and eat. $1,000 a month is not a lot of money in today's cost for everything else. But in the totality of things, why would someone leave the Motel 6 if they could stay there for a couple of years? Well, what's the reason they would want to leave?
Well, and again, being the contrarian on this and not the most popular in the room, I would say that if we are past stabilizing you and past the emergency shelter component of this, and you want to continue to stay, then that is a type of housing, a type of interim, transitional, whatever you want to call it. And if you were getting SSI and you're getting your $1,200, why would it be out of the question to charge you a couple of $100 a month to stay there and without strings on it? I mean,
so if that person with SSI graduated to some other type of program, what would be the equivalent they would pay for their subsidized rent if they succeeded and left the Motel 6 program?
And that's where this transition is, right? So if we look at getting somebody into an apartment.
A voucher or some other program, what would be roughly what they would be paying?
Well, the vouchers aren't around, but if they were around. An apartment, because we're doing the street to housing right now, an apartment around here, a one-bedroom apartment, if you're lucky to find, $1,400 a month. But, so you're already upside down. So you need more than $1,400. And then to get into an apartment, you need an ID, you need a social security card, and most of the places want a credit of more than 600 and first and last and W-2s and job. It's an impossible, close to impossible challenge to transition from that into simply a one-bedroom apartment. And that's part of what we're up against and why the throughput on this, everybody thinks it's this magical thing that we're just moving people through. And
That's what I'm trying to ask, Mr. Pedro, is there an equivalent that we could say, this is a fair amount somebody would pay in a subsidized program if they so-called graduated from a Motel 6 program and went somewhere else, and have an equivalent they would potentially contribute or participate with staying in our programs for the longer term, and then we could use that to help more people get in the first place. Could you bring us back some ideas or suggestions or some type of analysis of what that would look like?
Absolutely.
Okay. Is this informational? Yeah, but there's no motion though, right? Is there?
There is, yes.
There is, we had a motion.
So
Okay,
you have a motion.
we do have a motion, a second. No more council member comments or questions. We do now have public comment.
Thank you, Mayor. I have three speakers, Jensen, Kubacha, Lambert, and then Heather.
Thank you, City Council, Mayor, and Brian Pedro. He pretty much addressed the main problem is the rent is like not realistic for a lot of the people that's on fixed income. So you got families, even if they got 2 fixed incomes, it's not 3 times the rent. Even the low income ones, like the brand new ones they built on Richards, is like, it's still unaffordable for like the people that's coming out of his programs. So he kind of he's dealing with it. So we have to listen. So basically there's no real answer to it unless, like he said, charge the people a less amount, that could take some of their money, but they still have money to live. We're spending a lot of millions of dollars on leasing property throughout the year, $7.8 million. I mean, like she said, Katie Mabel, we can be buying properties with this kind of money. And then like she said, Ms. Kaplan, 6 months program. What is your goals? A lot of these people are not mentally stable, so we have to have levels of the behavioral health. So it's not just everybody's the same. Some people that are at certain levels have to go into a facility that has mental help for them too. It's like almost like a facility that's, a care facility. For 431 clients that they don't know where they're at, that's despicable to be spending that much kind of money. So we need to find these people, and the people that did get permanent housing, I want to see them because I've never met anyone yet that has got a permanent house from these programs. And me and my family has been in the programs for a couple years in and out. We had to buy a houseboat to solve our problem, but the program took our houseboat, which the city did take our houseboat illegally, and they still have it. So thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Lambert, and following Lambert is Heather.
I'm not really sure exactly what I'm going to say to you, but it's going to be blunt because people in my life asked me to come back down here, and I was here at 11 o'clock, and I said, hey, I'm tired, but I'm stunned at what I just heard. I heard a person come and say that COVID, ARPA funding, was the good old days. That is cruel to me because that says that you are dependent on a pandemic for money. And HAP means you don't really want homeless to go away because your money will go away. It is tremendously an honor to see Roger Dickinson in that seat because I knew who he was before he got there, and it is a tremendous honor because you must question things. When I was in college, I never remember anybody being homeless. They worked 2 jobs, they worked. It was always something to do with work. And they were never homeless. I never heard of a student ever sleeping in a car when I was in college. I never met anyone like that. My point is, it's a tremendous honor to know you, City Councilman Dickinson, because a lot of elders I know, when I wasn't living here, they voted for you, and I never knew who you were, and I would ask when I was living in another state, well, why are you voting for him? And what they always said was that he had tremendous integrity. Tremendous. It takes integrity, but that is, maybe I'm exhausted, but that is very cruel to say, the good old days.
Your comments, Heather?
Hi. Some of the stuff that I was wanting to talk about, you guys have already addressed. Something that was alarming to me was how many people weren't accounted for. And I work in a hospital, and I know that if we need more staff, if we need more money for our department, then we have to prove that we did work, or that we need the staff, we need the money. So I can see how there's a lack of money coming if we don't have proof that we're making things happen. I also just still see a lot of homeless people out there, so I don't really see the improvements. I'm sure there are, but I knew a person that worked as a social worker, and he worked with the unhoused, and he expressed to me regularly how frustrating it was because of how difficult it was to get these people in a house. He would do all the identification, get them cell phones and all the things, but getting them into a house felt impossible to him. So, and he did share with me that the hotels were a short-term thing. It was an emergency. It's like the weather is horrible. It's storming out, or the temperatures are way too high, or something like that. It wasn't a permanent solution, and I think that is a huge thing we're lacking, is something more permanent for these people. But ultimately, I'm still just kind of confused how there's a lack of accountability for what is happening to these people. That's a huge number that was up there of people that are unaccounted for as far as what happens to them. So I think that is a huge improvement that needs to happen.
Thank you for your comments. Mayor, I have no more speakers on this item. We have a motion by Councilmember Guerra and a second by Councilmember Maple.
Yes, we do. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any noes or abstentions? Hearing none, measure passes unanimously. Next item.
Our next item is number 26, fiscal year FY 24-25 budget update and proposed adjustments.
Mr. Mayor, with your indulgence, we'd like to take 26 and 27 together as
Yes,
one
please.
item.
No, we want you to do them twice and have double amount of time.
The same.
Actually, their second
Oh.
time today doing these.
And I believe the city manager wants to make an initial comment.
Yes, please, city manager, help us start off here.
Thank you. I just want to start with a thank you to all of the finance staff, to the budget staff, to the department staff. This has been a heavy, heavy lift already. been working on this since November. It will continue to be that lift all the way through budget adoption in early June. And I don't think that we can thank you all enough for your efforts in this. We have had hours and hours and hours of meeting that were based on hours and hours and hours of staff work to get even to this point. And so I just really want to thank you for all of that. So with that, please.
Thank you, City Manager. Good evening, Mayor, council members, and members of the public. I'm Pete Coletto, the city's finance director. With me is Murthala Santizo, our budget manager. In municipal finance, we always live in 3 years, the prior year, the current year, and the budget year, and we'd like to update you on all three tonight. So I'm going to start off with the good news. I usually come with bad news, but I'm going to start with good news, and that is that our fiscal year 24 year-end results were very positive. And we have it broken up in the chart in two sections, and that's because we have kind of an interesting, novel source of gain that I'll explain in a second. About 14.1 million of the positive result was kind of what you traditionally think, revenues over budget, expenses below budget, kind of our operating savings from fiscal year 24. The other 12.7 million is kind of a unique situation. So our treasury pool is invested in bonds, very safe assets. And what happened about 3 years ago when the Fed started raising interest rates, the value of our pool when you marked it to market went down. And so accounting rules say cities, jurisdictions, you can't say that you won't need that cash. So you need to take a loss at year end. So the last few year ends, we've taken losses, unrealized losses on the investment pool. But the Treasurer's Office has done a great job at managing our cash flow. They didn't have to sell all of those assets at a loss. They've now matured. The great thing about bonds is when they mature, you get your principal back. And now we're investing that in market rate yields. And so we can pay ourselves back for those losses we took in prior years. And that's about $12.7 million. So that accounts for the 26.8. 3.3 was kind of already forecast. It was built into our forecast, baked into the cake. So we have 23.5 million that can be allocated, and we'll talk about that at the end. And now I'll pass it off to Murthala to talk about how we're doing this year versus our budget.
Great, thank you, Pete. Good evening, Mayor and council members. Murthala Santizo, Budget Manager. I'll briefly go over the fiscal year 25 approved budget and then discuss the proposed changes. The fiscal year 24 approved budget, 25 approved budget is $1.6 billion in all funds with over 5,000 employees. 847 million of it is general fund Measure U. And the fiscal year 25 gap was 66 million and was closed without eliminating any filled positions. So just to roughly summarize this table, which we have, which is in our approved budget, is how we balance the fiscal year 25 budget. We had approximately 55 million in citywide level 1 and level 2 reductions, and approximately 15 million in revenue enhancements, and of course a few other various adjustments. Approximately 63 vacant FTEs were deleted. In this slide, we're showing the breakdown between one-time and ongoing, and approximately 45% of the reductions and revenue strategies that were used for fiscal year 25 were ongoing. Okay, so on to the fiscal year 25 budget updates. We have several adjustments to be made based on the first half performance of fiscal year 25. Our general sales tax and Measure U sales tax is projected to be below budget. Overall, there has been a statewide decline in retail purchases, which is due to inflation and purchases shifting from taxable goods to non-taxable services. Specifically in Sacramento, the drop is seen in transportation, construction, and business to business. Higher prices and interest rates are the drivers for the decrease. The good news is that property tax, property transfer tax, utility user tax or UUT, and cannabis BOT are projected to be above budget. The housing market has continued to stay strong, which has allowed our property and transfer tax to grow. The increase in UUT is mostly due to the increase in electricity and gas rates. However, that increase is offset from people cutting landlines and cable, which has continued to be happening over the years. And then finally, cannabis BOT over the last 6 months is coming in higher compared to last fiscal year. Department revenues is projected to also be higher for some departments. Most of it is due to parking revenues. We have a few expenditure adjustments. We have current contracts in YPSI that has allowed for them to offset the cost of existing positions. This change is an expenditure reduction. And then we also have one expense that we're adding that is urgent in nature, and that is our 911 Communication Center. The 911 Communication Center, which also serves as the city's emergency operations center, has 2 critical areas that are beyond their useful life and require replacement. The roof currently leaks when it rains and can no longer be patched. And the 2 power supply units that ensures continuous powers when there is an outage also needs to be replaced. And so if either of these 2 items were to fail, it would stop operations in that building. And so here are the actual fiscal year 25 dollar changes. As you can see, although there is a large decrease in sales tax for both Bradley Burns and Measure U, the other citywide and department revenue sources make up the difference. And then, of course, due to the increase in cannabis BOT, the Children's Fund will see an increase as well. I'll go through the next 4 slides pretty quickly. This is just providing a visual of our 4 main revenue resources over the last 6 years in comparison to fiscal year 25. So as you can see, property tax continues to be our strongest revenue source. It continues to grow year over year. And then as you can see right here for sales tax, what we saw in between fiscal year 20 and 22 was pretty huge increases, and this was due to inflation. But because of that, we had some changes to behaviors in the public, and that was the shift of purchasing taxable goods and non-taxable services, and then, of course, the public also tightening up in regards to how they're spending their money. So starting in fiscal year 22, you start to see that decline as we start leveling off. And that is also similar to Measure U. Starting in from 20 to 22, you see that increase, and again, it decreases and levels off as well. And then finally, for UUT, we saw continuous growth until fiscal year 23, when it dropped in fiscal year 24 and increased again. I believe that for fiscal year 24, the reason for the drop was just due to electricity usage dropping. But as I mentioned earlier, the rates increase in gas and electric has caused it to increase. And as with all revenue sources, we'll continue to monitor the drivers and update our forecast as necessary.
Thank you. So that leaves us with where are we now, right? So we took all the information Marthala was talking about, we updated our forecast. And so our forecast is not assuming a recession. We don't know when that might happen. It incorporates the latest labor agreement that council approved, but not any future potential labor agreements. And I want to pause a little bit on the HAP funding. So I know I'll show the number in a second, the $62 million budget gap we're forecasting. We ultimately had to make a decision to put an estimate in there to publish and finalize the budget gap. And so we put an estimate in there of $18.3 million of HAP. As you all know, we heard the very bad news yesterday afternoon about what our actual HAP allocation is. So just for context, I think there's 2 different factors that are at work. One is more than the other. So overall, the regional allocations were reduced in HAP Round 6 versus HAP Round 5. They were reduced by about 12.5%. Our allocation was reduced by 40%. And so the bulk of that is really the point-in-time count formula. So our HAP 5 total allocation was roughly $27 million. We can use roughly 80% of that on our homelessness services budget. Our current allocation, the HAP 6 allocation, is 16.1 total. And so we're using that same assumption that we can use about 80% of it. So the impact, we had taken a conservative approach with about a 15% year-on-year decrease. And obviously the actuals are way below that. And that impact is about $5.4 million. And we'll show that at the end. And then again, the other thing this does not include that I really want to highlight, because it's a big issue right now, a big issue of concern, is we do not have the potential loss of federal funding in our forecast. And so we're closely monitoring that. But again, if we are to lose some of the funding that's already been communicated, that will hurt our budget. So as I mentioned before, the number that we're trying to hit, our starting point, $62.2 million budget gap. I know it's very cold comfort to everyone in this room, but we are not alone. Cities up and down the state in the last few weeks have announced sizable funding gaps, including San Diego, Oakland, San Francisco, LA, Fresno, and San Jose, and many other cities. And so there really is this structural issue of inflation, costs going up higher than revenues that's really up and down the state. This is just to show the structural nature of our budget deficit. Our expenses are growing faster than our revenues. One thing I will point out is fiscal years 27, 28, and 29 don't have a HAP assumption in them or homelessness funding assumption. So assuming the state does continue funding, those deficits would decrease. Things would get better. So how are we going to balance? Really, our approach is very similar to last year. We want to focus on defining our core services and minimizing service impacts versus saying, hey, we want to cut across the board. We also want to minimize our staffing impacts because we deliver our services through our people. And so to get a menu of options, we asked every department to come up with strategies to hit a 15% reduction target, because that would be much bigger than our deficit and allow us to make strategic decisions. And at the same time, we're looking at citywide strategies. So these are project balances, maybe monies we've set aside for something we haven't started that we want to reappropriate, and to bring those forward to you as options. So we're still finalizing with the departments all of the reduction strategies. This is a high-level roll-up of what we've received so far. These numbers may change a little bit as we finalize things. Just like last year, we are going to publish and provide you and the public with every single strategy that gets submitted, the financial impact, the staffing impact, and the service impact. And so we have categorized them based on service impact, with level 1 being the lowest, level 4 being the most severe. And you can see to date, we've identified $88 million of departmental strategies, and we also have the citywide strategies, which we'll provide. We're expecting the end of next week to be able to provide that information. This is the budget calendar. As the city manager mentioned earlier, we're shooting for a June 10th adoption. By charter, we'll have to propose a balanced budget by April 30th. Pending factors, so I mentioned it before, but the federal funding risks are really top of mind, not just for the funding we get directly from the federal government. We also get federal funding via the state, and federal funding supports a lot of local jobs, both direct federal jobs in the region and jobs at the state. The state receives a lot of federal funding, especially for health and human services and transportation. Again, we've talked before about our unfunded pension obligation and capital needs that we need to address, and the future of what homelessness funding we might get. It's worth noting the governor did not include homelessness funding in his budget proposal, but certainly I think the cities and the legislature will lobby hard to get that funding. And as always, we have the risk of a recession, which will make our budget situation worse. So the recommendations before you've approved the annual comprehensive financial report on the consent calendar. Staff is recommending approval of the current year budget adjustments that Murthala mentioned before, and applying the $23.5 million of savings towards the fiscal year 26 budget gap. And Budget and Audit also gave further direction this morning that if staff is to identify any one-time investments that would have a positive impact on the city and its finances to bring them to council, and we certainly will during the budget process if those opportunities arise. So if council is to apply the prior year savings to the current year budget gap, and we adjust for the HAP funding actuals versus our estimates, we would have a revised target of $44.1 million. And that is it for us, and we are happy to answer any questions.
Member Maple.
Thank you, Mayor. And I will be very brief because it's been a long day. I just want to thank you for your presentation. I noticed that you all look a little tired because I know that you gave us the same presentation at 11 a.m.
You had the matinee.
At the Budget and Audit Committee. And so thank you for all the work that's gone into this and obviously staying up with all of us to cap off this very long day. I'm going to keep my comments brief because I made longer ones at Budget and Audit, but a few things I wanted to uplift. As Vice Mayor Talamantes mentioned at Budget and Audit, obviously we need to be looking at both where do we make cuts? We're going to have to do that. It's a very difficult budget year. We're going to have to make tough choices. Those are before us. But it's not just about cuts. It's also about how do we increase our revenues too? What are the different ways that and strategies that we can look at to do that? So as she mentioned, I think that we should definitely consider revisiting our business operations tax modernization / update. That was unsuccessful last year for a lot of different reasons that I'm not going to rehash. But I do think that it's an important conversation to have, and we can be nuanced about it because the reality of it is that companies like Amazon and Walmart and big companies are currently paying a max cap of BOT, business operations tax, in the city of $5,000 a year. To me, that is mind-blowing. And that's because that code has not been updated in more than 30 years. And I believe maybe before I was born, if it's the year that I think it is, that I don't have it on the top of my head. And so, I just think about that. We make policy decisions, and when we place arbitrary caps on things, what happens is we end up 30 plus years down the road and wondering why we're still looking at a number that doesn't seem to fall in line with what it should be. And so I think that conversation is timely. It should happen again. We should be strategic about how we do it. And so that's one thing that I think is really important, and want to uplift that Vice Mayor mentioned that. Secondly, I didn't mention this at Budget and Audit, but it has since come to mind is, we know that our small businesses are a backbone of the funding, the tax revenues that we're getting, and are a huge part of our economy here in Sacramento. I want to uplift that our continued investments as a council into our business corridors like Stockton Boulevard and Broadway and Franklin, that's going to overall help our financial situation. So I don't want us to lose sight of the bigger picture. It's not just the big things like Aggie Square and the rail yards. It's also investing in our infrastructure of these corridors that's going to ultimately help not just those businesses survive, our small ethnic businesses, but also our neighborhoods. And so that's just something I wanted to uplift. We talked about HAP. I think we've beat that horse. So those are the things that I want to mention. Thank you again for the presentation, for that work.
Thank you. Councilmember Dickinson.
Thank you, Mayor. I just would piggyback to a certain extent on Councilmember Maple's comments about what we discussed at the Budget and Audit Committee this morning. We did have a good, I think a very good exchange and a good conversation this morning. We did want to emphasize looking for revenue enhancements and not just cuts. But we also talked about looking at what we can do with technology, ranging from artificial intelligence to drones that would allow us to maintain service levels as close to current levels as possible, even if we don't have as many people as we would like. And of course, we hope we'll have all the people. But in that same vein, and you have a list of vacancies throughout the city that's been compiled by the finance staff. I'm appreciative of that, but that's another potential strategy. We heard a little bit actually about that referenced in the presentations this afternoon by the departments that were here as well. And then I think as the finance staff noted, looking at working with the state legislature, with our legislative delegation, both for the short term HAP fund. We were discussing this with the motel program a little bit, and Mayor, you raised that, but also the longer term, and meaning one of the real difficulties that local governments have is the uncertainty of what funding is going to be available, especially, I mean, in general, but especially on homelessness, because those are investments that don't start on July 1st and end on June 30. They are ongoing necessarily in order to have success. So this wasn't a task. It was just it was a comment that we would be wise to try to combine with other local governments around the state who face the same challenges in this regard vis-a-vis the administration and the state legislature, and pursue both in the short term but in the longer term some greater certainty with respect to financing. So those were a few of the things we discussed this morning as well.
Thank you, Councilmember, and also for that recap for some of us that weren't there this morning. Councilmember Kaplan.
Thank you, Mayor. I too listened in on the 11 o'clock so that I could get a heads up and pre-briefing on potential questions that I might have. Just have one, but I do want to call out. Thank you to our city treasurer and team for finding ways to maximize and bring in revenue. And I want to echo, I've said it before and I'm going to echo it again. I would like to see this council move forward with a new BOT measure to go to the ballot, but it really has to be, I think, the structure we started with, removing the license increases, the small stuff that affected small businesses, because in reality, when we looked at redoing the structure for BOT, I think it was those who grossed less than $15 million a year actually got a small decrease and really helped our smallest businesses, and the impact came with those of setting the stage that even the BOT we were looking at charging was less than some of our surrounding areas. But I think we really have to look at, and I agree, how can we bring in revenue? And I think this goes across the board in the city. Where are our fees? Where have we not raised fees in a long time? If you got Prop 218, we got to start the process now, and we got to start looking ahead. But with BOT, we've got to look at, is it best to go on the ballot next June or next November, and start telling the story that if you go to San Francisco, you're paying this, Stockton paying this, Roseville, BOT is this. It's actually really cost effective to be a really gargantuan multinational company and to be here. And that's not okay, because I feel like we're not doing our job as residents. So I echo having that conversation, whether it go through budget and audit again, but we need to start having that conversation again. I had asked this of you earlier, so as we look and we see that executive orders are coming down left and right, and our city attorney's office is sending us summaries almost every day. And it's almost like, you know, I'm a kid from the Chuck E. Cheese era, and I always say it's like whack-a-mole. Where, you know, what's being whacked on what day, and it doesn't seem to be in order. And there's threats about potential loss of federal funding. Has your staff starting to look at, while I'm pretty confident that this council would authorize a lawsuit, there's always the freeze that comes in. Have we figured out how much cush do we have, and if something is frozen to pay our bills, you know, are we paying that chess move so that we don't have to all of a sudden do a mass layoff because funding has been frozen, but how are we preparing for that cush?
Yeah, thank you, council member. So, you know, the first step was really seeing what funding is at risk. And, you know, it's even more complicated than just, hey, these are our federal grants, because a lot of our programs, a lot of our federally funded programs come via the state. So the first kind of order of business was, what is our exposure? And so we did that. We worked with all the departments on a project-by-project basis to get that list. And then as far as for how do you adjust to that operationally, it's almost on a case-by-case basis, because there are some things that we get funded for, even some of the Department of Justice funding, that's kind of part of our normal operations. I mean, our COPS hiring grant is DOJ funded. We've hired those police officers. We would want them to keep doing, we already have a shortage of police officers. We want them to keep doing their job. And in that case, what we would probably try to do is say, okay, well, how do we manage that within our existing resources? There are other cases where maybe we have a really big capital project that's being funded federally and it's at risk. And then I think we need to do a risk assessment of, hey, do we think this is at a very high risk of being frozen or being swept, or very low risk, and then make a decision from there on whether or not to go forward. But on some of the operational things, it's almost like how we handle our FEMA reimbursements, where we have to front that money, and we may, even if we won a lawsuit, it might be years in the future, and so we have to try to manage our cash flow and manage within our resources. And so it's a fluid process, and it's something that we're working really closely with the departments on. Obviously, it's very difficult, and as you say, things are kind of coming fast and furious. And so, the city attorney's office has done a great job of keeping everyone in the city apprised of what's going on, and then that gives us the information to have the operational conversations.
So, but have you kind of mapped out scenarios? Or are you looking at mapping out if certain things, so that you know maybe there is a gap that you don't know about?
Yeah, I mean, there are certain, especially the Department of Justice funding, it's a small amount in the context of our budget, but that we know that portal is frozen, right? We can't actually go in there and draw down those funds, and so we're working with PD to make sure that we can continue to operate within our resources. And, to the extent we incur those costs and have to get reimbursed later, it would lessen our cushion for this year.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Guerra.
Thank you, Mayor. On that following comment, I'll just note that it's my understanding that under our policy and platform, that I believe the city attorney has the authority to make sure that we execute our legal defense in any situation where our already allocated and appropriated money, if it's halted or in any way, that we execute our defense on that. So that comment. The second, I appreciate bringing the tax expert on understanding our tax issues today at Budget and Audit, so I won't go over those. And I think what we're doing today is very prudent in making sure we're moving over our unallocated dollars to making sure that we address the gap for the next year. So with that, Mr. Mayor, I'll go ahead and move that we move the 23, I think it's 0.6 million.
Yes, we need a motion on item number 26. We have a motion and a second. 27 is informational, no vote.
Oh, yeah.
So just
move that item there.
Yeah, a few comments as well. This is kind of the mid-year roundup of where we're at, and this is the easy part, telling us how much money we have, and now we need to go shop in the store based upon our limited budget. That's the real test. And we threw out a lot of scenarios, and so I just asked that, eyes wide open, put everything on the table, no matter how painful or easy it is, because we all need to see everything. Revenue ideas, every department, what it would mean, and the quality of life impacts on our residents, and so we need to have it all there. So also just a suggestion on the revenue that comes into the city. We get, that's like most people know, we get most of our money in property tax and sales tax, and we get utility user tax. I think it's confusing for me and the council and the public when you have two sales tax things, like in the federal government. They increase income taxes here and there. You don't say, oh, this is the Obama income tax year, and this is the Nixon one. It's just this federal income tax, and same with the state. So I think for consistency, I know for Measure U, you have to have requirements in the reporting because of the voters. I get that. But as far as the budgeting, I think just sales tax would be much easier for us to track and follow.
We are happy to do that.
Yeah. And then lastly, on the HAP, that is, I talked about this last item, and I certainly will follow up with our leadership over there at the legislature, our certainly our local reps, but also folks in the leadership chairing the fiscal committees as well. Could you help us understand not just our loss and the magnitude versus, homelessness went down 20%, we lost 40% of money, but I don't think the total number decreased statewide. So we lost, so who won?
Yeah, so in
you
the-
could give us a list of
Sure.
who else, where the increases were, just so we can help our narrative.
Sure.
Make our case.
Yeah, we can provide you the list.
Yeah. City manager?
Yagan is also going to work on that with Pete. Mike?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and then, I guess there's that saying that misery loves comfort, right? And so, not to make us feel better that other cities are in there, but can you tell me the number you said is pretty enlightening earlier today? I think it's the city of San Diego.
Yeah, San Diego is about a $250 million budget deficit.
But that really was not the number, because it's a very different budget, but the
I
percentage.
believe it was around 12% of their general fund.
What is ours?
Ours is probably closer to 7%.
Yeah, so I think that puts it in perspective that the impact is painful for us, but there are other places that it's worse. So it's not just Sacramento has a massive, massive problem. This is an issue across the state. And in blue cities and red cities, it's not a partisan issue. This is happening in other jurisdictions as well. So with that, again, this is the prelude to the frankly tougher conversations in the coming months as far as what to do with these numbers. So we have a motion and a second. This is informational, the second item, and we do have public comment.
Thank you. I have 3 speakers, Michael Andrew Barnbaum, Mac Worthy, and Zion Tatis.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, City Council. I'd like to thank you for allowing comment and participation at the beginning of the 25-26 budget process. The deficit, at no matter what amount, is very concerning. I will go on record to support the motion under item 26 to reduce that deficit to what was shown in the slide, down to the 44 million mark. Many people thought it was going to be in the 60s or the 70s when it was mentioned a couple months ago, just in reference. But certainly would like to see any way we can do things to promote revenues for the city and not cuts. But also to council members' points, seeing what we can do to support our local Sacramento-based businesses. That was an excellent example I heard, and I'd go on record to say I know over the last several months it was a very key thing I've learned between July and December. I supported Oak Park Brewing, Strapping, the SacMade Studios and Hacker Lab, all over there on the Broadway corridor. When I've worked weekends and it's time for a meal break, I posted I've supported Lil Joe's and even Sammy's up the street. A lot better than going to a national chain that you may have heard in the news that's not based in Sacramento. And I think small businesses are the driving force of our local economy in the city, and everything during budget season needs to be done to promote that through and through. Thank you. I'm here for any questions.
Thank you for your comments. Mac Worthy is our next speaker. Following Mac is Zion Tatis.
To hear what was here should have been, Rod, you should have had control of that, of what was going here, instead of coming here and waste time on it again. Now, how many of you own the business that sits up there? You can't get ahead of free enterprise. Now, your sales tax. I worked for the president of Unfair Merchant Association for 22 years. 10 of those years, she was the president. See, I went to house luncheon and so forth, things, sit down and talk. See, you all only work for government. Now, sales tax, there's a way that they're going to make money anyway. Because, see, the thing about it, when you purchase in sales tax, you pay your tax up front. You don't owe them, owe nothing on inventory. You got to understand that. So you all are not there. You got to get there. with free enterprise, the way they operate. Now, see, I was in a business and I paid what I purchased up front. See, they pay that up front, and then we let them come in, and you come in and run that over into the police department. Now, shoplifting is $1 for much. If they say we file for $10,000, they get $20,000 in insurance. Insurance policy is gonna kill you here. You gotta understand. But see, you all ain't had no businesses to be affiliated with what's going on in their meetings. That's the reason I said what I say about a city manager. You got to get somebody to know something about free enterprise here. Because you keep begging, you ain't going to get nowhere begging. And here you bring up about federal government. I told you 2 or 3 meetings, it's going to get the cut, and they should. With what's your problem here, we should get a federal cut. Take that money away from them because you have abused it. So wake up to what's going on here.
Zion Tatis is the final speaker on these 2 items.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. So I wanted to talk about 2 things. The first one is racial equity. As you know, we passed last time racial equity. So we really need to put that on the budget. How are we using the budget to really add equity into every budget that we're doing? So if there is no, even though we passed that, there's nobody's talking about it. Our community is hurting, so we really need that racial equity when it comes to access to nutrition food, access to housing, access to education, access to healthcare, and good opportunities. So that is needed in our community as soon as possible. And like you guys saying, the small business is the backbone of economy. Right now, small businesses are hurting, especially like small businesses like mine. So if you just pay attention, maybe have a side fund for small businesses that, you know, the fund is not going to us. It's going to the middle businesses and the upper class businesses. So if you say we are the backbone of the economy, if your backbone is hurting, so that is, you can't function, eventually you collapse. So that's how I see it, especially small businesses are who hire the community. So big businesses hire from outside, but we hire the community. So we really want to focus on small businesses and also that racial equity. Don't forget about that, please, because we really need a specific racial equity this year on the budget. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Mayor, I have no more speakers.
Okay, we do have a motion on item 26. 27 is informational. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. 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 Any noes or abstentions? Passes 9-0.
So Mayor, we move to council comments, ideas, and questions.
Councilmember Maple.
I will be incredibly brief because I know it's been a long day, but this is the last time I'm going to say this here. It's been many weeks, but tomorrow is when we're finally doing our event at Sacramento City College. Please join us in the evening time at 6 p.m. Sacramento City College in their Student Center. We are going to be showing the documentary film that was filmed here in Sacramento by a local filmmaker about the life and legacy of Verna Canson. She is an amazing civil rights leader here in Sacramento. She lived here. She ran the NAACP for many years in Sacramento and leaves an amazing legacy, not just on civil rights, but also on housing. So come by, and then we're going to have a wonderful panel discussion, and we actually have her sister flying out to come join us on that panel, which we're really excited about. So come join us, 6 p.m., Sacramento City College. Thank you.
Councilmember Vang.
Thanks, Mayor. Just 2 announcements from South Sacramento District 8. Wanted to let folks know that next Saturday, The Meadowview Urban Tree Project is hosting an event at John Still K through 8. We're going to be planting trees, and you can actually sign up to volunteer. I actually have a phone number here. You can either call our office or just call 916-877-4854, and that is a member of a committee for the Meadowview Urban Tree Project. So encouraging folks to come out to that. It is 9 to 1 p.m. at John Still in Meadowview. And then lastly, just wanted folks to save the date for our annual District 8 Community Conversation happening at Union House Elementary at 7850 Deer Creek. This is our annual meeting happening from 10 to 1, really to discuss the progress that's happening in our neighborhoods, completed projects, ongoing projects, future projects and initiative. City staff will also be there present to talk about various initiatives and community needs. And then lastly, we'll also be using this space to hear from our residents and care holders. During our community conversation meetings, I usually have our various departments, my office in particular, do breakout groups so that we have time within our session to actually spend time with all the residents on various topics. And so would love to also hear from the community directly. I know we just hired someone, a company to start the process for the city manager process in particular, but I'll be using our annual community conversation as a space to also hear from care holders and residents about what they want to see in the next city manager. And those are my updates from my district.
Thank you, Councilmember Kaplan.
Thank you, Mayor. Tomorrow night, I am having a community mail theft meeting. Unfortunately, mail theft has been a huge issue in my district, and I'm partnering with the Sac PD DA's office as well as Congressman Almi Bera's office on some tips and things that our community can do to increase the likelihood of catching these criminals. And then happy event on Saturday, March 1st. We are doing the official ribbon cutting for the West Shore new park that is at 3822 Lake Katy Way. It's going to be at 10 a.m., so come on out and join us. And then on Sunday, we are having our 3rd annual District 1 Pet Adoption and Foster event at the North Natomas Community Center from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So if you just want to buy things for your pet, come on out. We have vendors who have made cute stuff for your animals, but we also have several of those who participate in fosters and adoption who are actually bringing animals out. So look for more information on our website. We will be posting pictures of animals up for adoption. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Talamantes.
Hosting a town hall tomorrow as well. But all things District 3, 5:30 to 7 p.m. Natomas High School. Be there. Come learn. It'll be fun. That's it.
Okay. Thank you. Any more announcements? Seeing none. Comments?
Mayor, I have 15 speakers for public comments for matters not on the agenda. I'll call off a few names. Donna Taylor, Jessica Davia, Jorge Polo Timas, Tiffany Martin, Mac Worthy, Frank Morgan Jr. And I'm betting some people have gone home, so please let me know who you are.
Okay. I am Donna Taylor.
My name is Jessica Davila. We're from the Roseville, 3900 Roseville Road. We've been having problems with the trailer. People is getting sick. It's just mold, and we don't have power.
First, I want to thank God, and then I want to thank you guys for listening.
You get your own 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry.
Please don't shout out from the audience. Thank you. Please proceed.
So, everybody is getting sick over there in that program. We just need some help. We don't have no power or nothing. We've been sleeping up there at the day room every single night. And, it's just hard. People is falling down the stairs from the trailer. I fell down twice. And my husband, he sprained his ankle. Thank you.
Did you have comments too?
Okay, so my name is Donna. First, I want to thank God. I am a resident at First Step Community, Roseville Road, 3900. I'm here to speak out for the 35 signatures that I have for the people that are in the trailers who don't have electricity. The pallets have electricity. There are 60 of them. They have electricity. It's rodents there. The pallets are leaking from the rain. The trailers have no electricity at all. People are freezing, going back and forth to the hospital from the cold and the mold. The Roseville Road is dangerous. People are getting hit by cars. There's no way to walk on the sidewalk because there's no sidewalks. There have been 3 deaths on Roseville Road in the last 2 months. One of them was a resident at First Step Community. The speed limit is 55. Anyone walking on Roseville Road don't have a chance. The director keeps making excuses about us not having no electricity, blaming the city. I put in grievances, hardships. I would like to also point out that the shelter on Stockton and the one on Florin have electricity, have washers and dryers to wash their clothes, have a place to park their car that their brother stays in who's homeless. So I just want to thank you for listening to me. But yes, we don't want somebody else to die in the trailer before electricity comes on. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Jorge Polo, then Tiffany Martin, then Mackworthy.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Jorge Polo Tomas. I am speaking here today to talk to you about ensuring the future of our community and construction industry. This all begins with the pre-qualification language at our local developments. First, I want to emphasize the importance of healthcare for the workers building our community. Personally, my wife has heart problems and requires constant treatment. Without health coverage, the financial burden would be overwhelming. Many families like mine rely on healthcare to avoid falling into debt. By supporting contractors who offer healthcare, you're not just investing in projects, you're investing in the people who make our community better. As leaders, you have the ability to create policies that require contractors to provide healthcare for their workers, raising the standards in the construction industry. Another important thing to think about is hiring people from our community. Sometimes we must travel 2 to 3 hours away from jobs, which means we are spending money on gas and food in other areas, and it means our town misses important tax revenue. With driving far for work, this takes a toll on our bodies, and personally, it takes time from my family. There is no time in between the week. I get home, eat, shower, sleep, and then wake up and do it all over the next day. This can all be changed with local hiring. Along with local hiring, we also need to make sure that the people we hire are trained for the job. For that, apprenticeship programs can solve this problem. These programs help train tens of thousands of Californians each year to be ready for good jobs. And the best part is, they do not cost taxpayers anything. Policies like pre-qualifications make sure the contractors hire apprentices and do their part in building a strong local workforce. Lastly, and most importantly, is making sure people earn a living wage. It is important that our community workers make enough money to live on. Without fair pay, personally, I know I wouldn't have been able to purchase a home and give my family a better life. I know you want the best for our community, and you will make the right choices to help us thrive. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Tiffany Martin. Following Tiffany is Mackworthy, then Frank Morgan Jr.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tiffany K. Martin. I'm a certified community health worker, as well as the founder and executive director for Elevated Health and Community. Elevated Health and Community is a local 501c3 health equity nonprofit, and we offer events and workshops that provide mental health resources, physical health resources, and provide safe enjoyment of the outdoors for marginalized communities. The City of Sacramento has been a supporter of our Not Just Runners event, which is a free public health and wellness fair, as well as a registered all ages, all abilities 5K and 1 mile event. Together, I believe that we can do more by establishing a formal program that not only expands access of information and resources so people have what they need to make high, well-informed decisions, but also to create a patient advocacy program so that we can get the kind of equitable care that we deserve. I would like to partner with this council and the city to expand our impact. Assembly bills such as AB 3161, Equity in Healthcare, and AB 2319, which Mayor McCarthy was a co-writer on, Dignity in Childbirth, have been enacted into law, but in terms of patient advocacy, I'm hard-pressed to find anyone within CDPH or within our local health facilities that understand that these mandates are coming through, and there's not an infrastructure in place being worked on to make sure that these initiatives actually bring value to our communities. I would like to be of service. I would like to be of support. I want to offer myself, as well as Elevated Health and Community, as a resource to make sure that these programs don't just fall flat on their face, but they serve our community. Consider this also your personal invite to Not Just for Runners on May 10th at Garcia Bend Park. It talked.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Thank you for your comments. Next speaker is Mac Worthy.
Okay. We're listening to a lot of Google on legislation 36. Now, where do that will be applied when elected officials in here commit a crime? Will it be done the same way? Now, we know there's some criminal crime have been committed here. And personally, we know that my civil rights or freedom of speech have been committed here. Are we going to get support on that? No. That was designed for us, not the political officials. Look at your Constitution. Ain't nothing in America's Constitution say, in case you commit a crime, what we're going to do? It's nothing. Ain't nothing in there. So these people sitting here, you got to think. Think for yourself. We subject to fall into a civil unrest by July. Right here. Right here. Be aware. Be aware that it's coming down. I stand here and talk about the money going to be short. Then later, they go, oh yeah, well, you know damn well it's going to be short. Are we going to have executive orders in another 4 years? Yeah. That's all we can do is make executive orders. We ain't got nothing else. Why don't we talk about Elon Musk buy TikTok for us? Not much about money. Money control. What was the intent of the people crossing the border? Nobody wants that word. If voters like in Virginia is not citizens vote, why can a non-citizen invest in America? People, you got to think here instead of play politics here. Politicians that go over here and that. Now, all about drugs, been 44 years. You're still on that same page. Housing. Been 44 years.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Our next speaker is Frank Morgan Jr., then L.R. Roberts, then Lambert, then Mack.
Good evening. I'm tired. I've been here since 11 o'clock this morning, but I went to the code enforcements, and you know, I'm a little disappointed. You know, I got a lot of calls. They gave me cards. I talked to people, but nothing's really been done. And you know, I'm a hard worker. I try to do what I can for my community over in the Oak Park area. But it's a little disappointing. You know, I try to get people to help me, and there's no help. They put things back, but I'm still on the same burner. I had to pay that $900 fine. I really didn't have it, but you know, if I don't pay it, I get a delinquent fee. It all just keeps tying over, and I know the city's trying to get revenue, but I can't pay for the whole city. And I just asked for some help, and I still haven't gotten it yet. And it's a little disappointing, you know, but I know we all got our issues and what we have to do, but it's time to start helping the people. You know, we're here. We love Sacramento. I didn't like it when I first moved here, but it just kind of grew on me. And I'm here now. And I need some help. And we ought to help our people. People are struggling here. There are people talking about they don't have no electric. Come on. That's inhumane. We must help our people, y'all. Come on, you guys are on the council. You got to do something, you know? I love all the areas, but we got to do something for our people. It's just, we're here, we're struggling, and it's getting worse. And to drive by and see the homeless people outside, that's inhumane. It really is. just not so much worried about me. I have a roof over my head, but it's crazy. We got to help our people here, y'all. It's on you guys, to make it happen. Thank you for my time.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker is L.R. Roberts, then Lambert, then Mack.
So, I'm L.R. Roberts. I live in District 5, where I ran a business for 15 years. I'm sorry I'm showing up covered in peanut butter. Apparently, I can't make multiple peanut butter sandwiches to give away and without covering myself in it. I hope nobody's allergic. So Crystal calls me from the Homeless Union when I haven't noticed a sweep. I do legal observing of sweeps, but this time she called me of one near the Roseville Road project. So I went and checked on the sweep. And while I'm looking at the sweep, which was done extremely inhumanely and for no reason because nobody lives anywhere near where this sweep happened, people came to me and complained about this Roseville project that these people were talking about no electricity. This is 2 or 3 weeks ago. Somebody complained to me about how poorly the Roseville project was being run. So I'm backing it up because people complained to me about it then. The other thing that I've noticed is someone's mentioned at a meeting about how the population of certain ethnic groups are a certain percent in the city, but their representation of the homeless population is much higher. The number of black people that are homeless and the number of Native American people that are homeless is way out of proportion to their percent in the population. I feed people, as you know, every Tuesday, and 3 times in the last month, most of the people who were homeless were young black men. One time, it was 100% of the people who came up to be fed, and they all seemed to be only wearing gym clothes, and they had no other personal possessions. So something is definitely wrong, and something is definitely racist. And then the last thing that I was telling somebody today, and nobody believed me, when the cops come up and throw away everything you own and give you a ticket and put you in jail, it counts as homeless services in the budget. That should never be the case. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for your comments. Lambert. Following Lambert is Mack, then Jensen Ben Ezra Kubacha, Noah Ben Ezra, then Rev, then Paul, then Leslie.
I'm going to make sure I keep my time tight. First of all, something has happened, and this man is talking about free enterprise, and I'm going to prove to this city that a native knows exactly what that means. I will be reaching out to you, Mr. Dickinson. The millennials have come up with an idea that has stunned me. They have shown me that on the internet, we can create jobs for people who speak different languages, but because it's my motto, that cheesecakes appeal to most races, most cultures, and both sexes, it inspired them. They can work remotely from home, and we can do this thing, Mr. Dickinson, but you have to look at it because I'm convinced that it can go. And it doesn't matter what the economy's going to do. It doesn't matter what the price of eggs is. It doesn't matter with any of that. And these young people stayed after me for over a year. And I said, show it to me. And they have shown it to me. I'm telling you, Mr. Dickinson, this thing is incredible. And it's been called a global deal. If you understand anything about economics, a global deal can be a game changer because cheesecakes appeal to people all over the world. I've been trying to tell you that. And I'm convinced that I now have my degree. I've been talking about coming down here, studying you to get a degree. I'm giving myself a degree. You may never see me down here anymore because of all of the cruel things I heard tonight. It's a waste of my time. We need to go, Mr. Dickinson. We need to go.
Thank you for your comments. Mack, then Jensen.
I'm gonna go fast so I don't have to get loud at the end there, so I can finish.
First, around the motel and the fixed income conversation, the model you're looking for is public housing. It's a revenue generating stream for our community, but y'all aren't talking about that. Y'all are talking about how to keep putting our tax dollars and folks' fixed income money into private landlord pockets, even though the private property market is the driver of homelessness. You won't be able to make it make sense. Hi all, my name is Mac, my pronouns are they, them. I'm a community organizer, artist, parent, I don't know, just a general person who cares, lives, and creates in Sacramento. I know some of y'all and some of y'all are new here, so hello and blessings to your day. I got a couple of calls today from Roseville Road residents, including folks who couldn't come to the meeting today due to transportation costs. I'm not sure why access to public transit passes aren't something that is given for free to city shelter and housing program residents, but me assuming the best means that maybe it just hasn't been thought of, so I want to throw it out there. I will start by saying that feedback loops must be created between y'all, the city, shelters, and its residents. Residents should feel good about going to staff, but we all know that sometimes that's not always the case. So they should have access points to their elected officials and the city and county services that are serving them at all times. I mostly got called about folks being cold, and some still without electricity to their place of residence. 40 people freezing at night, to be exact. I mean, actually thousands freezing every night on Sacramento city streets without access to services, let alone housing and opportunity. I just watched the city and the county push 300 people off of West El Camino, including taking their tents and blankets, even though we don't have anywhere for them to go, while it rained the other day. As I was saying, the loops are important because something as simple as blankets and updates about where the electricity is shouldn't be that hard. But because it's going to take calls and emails and bureaucracy and dealing with budget checks and hierarchical structures, it's going to take days for somebody to get a blanket. I would add that folks would have these things if they could have more than just a storage container or two of those belongings and weren't forced to have bare minimum to survive. You heard about the leaks, you heard about the mold. There's also residents who have dietary restrictions and aren't given options for food, only told to skip the meal.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Our next speaker is Jensen. Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Mac, please, you've exceeded your speaking limit. Please take your seat. By continuing to speak, you're disrupting the orderly conduct of the meeting and are in violation of Chapter 5 of the Council Rules of Procedure. Our next speaker is Jensen, and then Noah. Jensen, Noah, Rev, Paul, then Les Light.
Hello, City Council. It's a letter from my daughter to the City Council. The city has my houseboat, as you guys know already. I wanted to go back, but one of the problems of the homeless programs that they have right now with Step Up and all of the programs that they have from experience is the caseworkers get paid to have you on their case, not to get you in a house. So I think that should be one point that we should bring up to these programs that we're giving millions of dollars to is they need to show that if they're working with a family or working with somebody, that they're helping them get a house, not just keeping them in a program, keeping them going, shifting them to another program. And that's a real big point that's causing the problem. And basically, I want, if possible, I wanted District 4, Mr. Pluckenbaum, to contact me back. I've been trying to get a hold of him. And Mr. Mayor's office did reach out to me, but I didn't finish the conversation yet. So we're still just talking about it, helping my family be compensated. And I appreciate you guys hearing us out. And we will be here pretty much every week until we get this situated. My son has something that he wants to say, address the city council. I'm teaching my kids how to deal with the city, how to deal with their surroundings, how to deal with their community, teaching them about districts, about the council members, teaching them about the mayors, city managers, so because they're going to young business owners and they're going to be involved in this, so they want to be a part of it. So that's why I want to give them a chance. Thank you. Here you go, Noah.
Thank you. Noah, did you want to speak? These are better for you. Go ahead, Noah.
Hello, City Council. Just read it. Go ahead. Go ahead, read it.
Hello, City Council and Mayor, for listening to us.
Thank you.
And thank you. Bye.
He just learned how to read, so he's excited.
Our next speaker is Rev, Paul, Les Light, and Zion Tatis. I have 4 more speakers.
Blessings to you all. Just let you know that I don't think y'all care that I could have actually died on that lovely day you call Valentine's Day. I had heart surgery. Because I take everything so seriously and I need to just let it go. You know what I mean? Because it's not getting any further. And it's sad to where I keep getting all these people coming up on limo. Rev, they took this, and I was just I deterred the police today because they see Rev pull up, boy, they just jump back. Amen. Because I jump out my camera phone. They got loaded guns and they jump away from my camera because they know it's a wrong, despicable situation they're doing. You know, they're being forced to make these people move and harassing them, and who knows what's happening to my John Does and Jane Does because I question them daily. I'm going to start getting all their social security numbers and all their names because they got to be accounted for. I want to find out who's in these real tiny homes, who's in these motels, wherever, because I want to be accounted for. Because I got a big project for them, and I still just want a simple tool and truck. Figure out from District 8 all the way down to 1, at $5,000 or $10,000 each district, I can buy a truck. My nonprofits can obtain the tools and probably get a truck too. I was just explaining to the lady back here, I don't know all the paperwork, but I know what I'm doing, and I know it can work. Work, key word. My homeless people work every day, all day, every day. They're working right now, and they work till the sun come up. So if they're doing all the moving, haul, and delivery for themselves, they would do it for the city. They would clean up this city. If y'all give them something to show, they'll show it. And I guarantee I put that on Jesus, that it'll happen. Because I know them. They question me, Rev, when we going to get to work? When we going to get to work? Like, as soon as they give me something, I ain't going to pile everything in the back of my limousine, but I'm about to start doing janitorial with them so I can get the chemicals in the back. Whatever is small and tangible, I'm going to work it out of the back of a limousine. And I'm going to have them go knocking on your door so they can get the business. You might have gave them $1 in the parking lot because you got a lot of money, you can spare $1. They can wash your windows in the parking lot, but let them come wash the windows of your house, your car, paint your house, do whatever they can do because they know how to work. God bless y'all.
Thank you for your comments. Paul, then Les.
I would just like to add my voice to residents' voices. I would ask that you look into conditions at Roseville Road. The residents don't care for the director. I've had first-hand experience with First Step, with staff who are dismissive of the experience of unhoused folks, with staff who are openly hostile towards the unhoused, and can very much see it going higher, given that comments I've heard by lower staff were never corrected or addressed by upper management during my time working with them. The situation there is awful. Even from the most basic policies of not being able to bring in their belongings, it creates unnecessary and pointless logistical challenges for folks without the ease of transport to easily grab items they need. This includes food items they may need for dietary restrictions, whether medical or religious in nature. And currently they don't have heat. On evenings hitting the 30s and even 20s, and this will likely continue into next summer, and them having cooling, especially on 100, 105, or 110 degree days, both of which can be deadly if not addressed. They also haven't seen sufficient cleaning. We need city staff to analyze the situation there and make sure that the most basic of human needs are being met. And beyond that, we need to ensure their autonomy is being respected. You don't create trust and ensure people want to take advantage of the services offered if you remove their autonomy and treat them like children. If I lost my job and my housing, I expect my community to help me as if it cares about me, as I would for them, not as if I'm a burden, not as if I have to capitulate to their every characterization of me as a criminal, lazy, or worse. These are human beings that are deserving of respect regardless of their housing status. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Les Light.
Hi, I'm Les Light, member, volunteer, organizer with the Sacramento Valley Tenants Union. So the housing crisis continues. Tenants are still overburdened by rents. Evictions continue. The city's most salient response continues to be destructive inhuman sweeps, which are inadequately compensated by inadequate shelter. We really have no idea how many city residents are effectively unhoused. This mayor and council continues to fail with this crisis. A very substantial amount of housing property is kept vacant to artificially inflate housing costs. The time has come to get serious about vacancy fees. If handled competently, vacancy fees can more than compensate for whatever revenue the city thinks is being gained by pricing working families onto the street and into foster care. If housing continues to be used as a commodity, this is what we get. Housing should be a need to be fulfilled. I heard a quote I've never heard before: misery likes comfort. I've never heard that one before, but I do know that the comfortable get comfort. Sleep warm in your beds.
Thank you for your comments. Zion is our final speaker this evening.
Hi again. So right now I wanted to talk about our cannabis equity. For our cannabis equity, I think we are completely been forgotten, and we right now there is a grant that has to be done within like 3, 4, 5 days, and we have $3 million, but we don't even know what the budget is, where it's going, and who's really getting paid. We have not replaced Divina, so we really need to have another meeting where all the cannabis money is spent. So, and the grants, how it's been distributed, we barely getting $10,000, $20,000 to build a cannabis facility that needs $100,000, $200,000. We're spending days and days just to get by because of lack of fund. So most of the fund is going just to hire and put somebody out there that is not even helping us. I've been in here for like nearly 6 years. I haven't seen the money that's been spent into everyone else but the people like us who needs the money. So we need a meeting as soon as possible where our cannabis money fund is going. And if it is, why not hire people who can write for more policy so we can get some more money from the state? So no, nothing is going, but we actually changing the policy, and instead of a community that been affected by war in drug, now it's everybody else. But without adding no fund for us. Like somebody like me, I've been trying to do it for 2 years because of lack of fund. I'm still stuck. So can we just please get it going and bring that up?
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Mayor, I have no more business to come before the council.
No adjournments tonight?
I do not.
Okay, thank you. With that, we're adjourned.